Good evening. Noting the time and the presence of a quorum, I call the Boxborough Finance Committee to order. Today is February 13th, 2024 at 7 p.m. and we are meeting via hybrid. We are in the Grange Room and via Zoom. So I still don't see Kashava, so we don't need to do a roll call vote. We do have minutes from January 3rd and February 6th.
January 30th.
January 30th and February 6th.
I'll move to approve both sets of minutes.
Okay, were there any comments on the minutes?
No.
No? Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Alec, you're up next, but you're, hello. Mark is coming in person, right?
Correct.
Nodding, yes.
Okay, you need to,
We can't really
we
hear
can't
you.
hear you. Try speaking again.
You guys hear me now?
Not
Yeah,
really.
Not
Yeah,
really.
well-
Hold on a second. Kirby,
It
can
might
we
be a
turn
Kirby
this up
issue.
a little bit? It's not like a TV issue or anything? Because I can't hear.
Not the worst thing in the world if you guys can't hear me.
Okay,
Oh,
wait a
now
minute.
There we go. Now we got you.
Okay. So Mark is supposed to be here in person?
Correct.
Okay.
So look at the
He does have 3 minutes. So, all right, I'm going to jump way ahead and I'm going to give an update on the finance director.
Okay.
We can do that. We did have a round of interviews, and we've decided to go back out and advertise again. So we've currently gone back out. I think the deadline, Mike will correct me if I'm incorrect, is in, I want to say it's like another 2 weeks. We have a deadline, and then we'll hopefully have 3 more people to interview. So we only interviewed 2 people. One of we originally were looking at 3, but one of them pulled out and accepted a job somewhere else. As we all knew, that was going to be it's a tough market, and it's going to be a tough job to fill.
I was going to say, has salary been an issue, or has
I don't think
has
so.
salary come up as a question?
No, I don't think so. Mike, are you on?
No.
I am.
Okay, salary hasn't been an issue with this, right?
So far?
We haven't gotten to the point of talking about salary at all, but, the folks, the salary's been advertised, people are applying. It's just a matter, it's going to be posted for another month now, so late March, we should be ready to do another round of interviews.
Okay, but the company, the placement company we're using hasn't said anything about it being an issue.
No, in fact, I told them what we had approved for a salary, and they thought the range that we had was adequate to draw a, good field. And I agree with that. That's why I had proposed that range of the salary, because that's what I'm seeing out there in the market.
Okay, great.
So we had 3 who were selected. 1 withdrew before interview,
Yes,
and 1 withdrew after interview.
yes.
Correct? And then the other one we didn't think was a good candidate.
The other one was not a good fit for us. There was, the experience was just not what we were looking for. I think that's fair to say, right, Mike?
Yeah, plenty of experience, but just not in the Massachusetts municipal sector.
And the 2 withdrew. What were their reasons for not?
One of them took, the one that
One another
withdrew
job, okay.
before,
Yeah.
and we did not get a reason for the one who withdrew after, right, Mike? Is that correct?
That's correct. And, I think that we are actually better off going back out to the market, so I didn't chase it down as to why. I think we're best coming in with a stronger field of candidates.
I would agree with Mike.
Okay.
I don't feel like, I wasn't devastated that we had to go back out. I felt like, this
Correct.
is the best move for us, so.
It's a critical hire.
It is, and I think that this is the better move, to go back out and hope we get, and for some reason, was it you that said this, Mike, that when you go out for a second round, sometimes you get a bigger pool of candidates?
Yeah, what happens sometimes is you've got people that are hesitant to apply because they're already, somewhere else, and they don't want to get their name out there. So there might be people kind of watching it. They see it go out again, and they've already piqued their interest. And this is actually a less public sort of a recruitment because it's not a public board that's doing the hiring. I'm doing the hiring with the, with having a member of the select board and the finance committee, and Rajan, and another member of the community on there. But it's not, the finalists, the three finalists wouldn't be up on camera, their name out to the world, and that's an advantage to us, actually, that I think we're gonna draw people who may be more qualified, and knowing that if they end up second or third, their name's not out there, the jig's not up.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay,
You're welcome.
Mark, you get to sit in hot seat.
Is that the hot seat?
It's a hot seat.
I'm gonna pull my chair out of the ship.
Don't worry, we pulled all
Okay,
the electrodes, all the electrodes are
Walked in
gone.
the door. I mean,
You're,
Oh, you're late, and I was about to
your
text
chair
you.
you
has
said
arrived.
7:10.
I said
7:05.
7:05.
It's on the agenda.
Sorry.
That's okay, it's all good.
Is
Have
this,
you got all the big guns in
do I have to
there?
turn this on, or is it?
No, it's
No,
all
you're
set.
good.
Kirby would tell you not to touch
Okay.
the mics. Welcome to our meeting, Mark. It's so nice to have you here in person,
Kind of nice to be here in person.
right?
Is it, in-person meetings are awesome.
I do miss it. It's kind of old
It's a different
school,
meeting than when you're all Zoom.
but it sure is a lot easier to do it from here.
This is true.
Yeah, with your
Okay.
glass of wine.
Alec, are you sharing documents? Do you have?
Yeah, I'm
anything
happy to do so. I have the planning board articles
You
pulled up.
don't have to.
Most recently edited.
Okay,
Hold off, Alec.
okay,
I'm going to give it to you quick.
all right.
Okay.
So wait, let me just sort of key it
Okay.
up for you.
Go ahead.
So the planning board has a couple articles. The one that we're specifically looking at tonight, but you have questions on the other ones. There's minor questions, it's just cleanup language on the other ones. This one we're looking at is on the traffic study. Specifically, they came to us in the fall. We asked them to put it off to town meeting. And right now it's slated to be the special within the annual town meeting. And, go ahead.
Okay, so we went out, we've got 3 bids. 3 bids always helps snap things into focus. The bids ranged from 55,275 to 95,500 to 82,750, giving you an average of 77,840.
Okay.
Those are the hard numbers.
Do we have, Bevar, do we have to take the lowest bid?
We don't have to, but we decided to, because we've worked with that vendor before, Green, and everybody was kind of happy with the work product, so we think, good square deal, we're going to get what we need for less than what we thought,
Yeah.
which we figured you would appreciate.
Always.
And, we're aware of your problems this year,
Wait,
and
Not just our problems, it's the town's problems.
Mark, I'm sorry.
we're aware of our problems.
What was the third bid, 88?
82,750.
82, thank you.
So you're taking the 55?
So we're taking, well, actually, what we're going to ask you for is 60.
Okay.
We wanted to have a little bit of a contingency in there, and we've also got our consulting budget in case there's something extra. I mean, this is a big deal because we've never done one before on this scale. This is to cover the entire town.
That was my question.
There's 12 intersections included in this, and if you start trying to count them, you're going to have a hard time getting to 12. So we wanted to make sure we captured as much of the traffic impacts as possible, including potential future impacts, which is MBTA Communities Act is going to come into play in here, which nobody knows what the impacts are going to be, but the traffic study people are going to give a attempt to give us some of that. Also, there's other things like we've got what is it, Alec? The bus runs. You're just working on that.
Correct, the regional transit network.
Yeah. And so we're trying to
So
take it.
Is that the transit that we're doing that we're trying to get established in town?
Yeah.
Alec?
Correct. We are actively hiring actually 2 bus drivers now because we've gotten approval for the grant to cover both.
Great, okay.
So, we're trying to imagine all the traffic now and future. And that gives us a baseline when we go into our hearings with the applicants for new businesses. I mean, our top 3 questions are, well, let's see, our top questions are traffic, water, other impacts. I mean, we have lots of questions, but those are really the big ones. And traffic, if we have a baseline, what we can do is present it to them as, well, here's our baseline, how will yours differ from this? How will it affect it? And then we can plan. And that's what planning is about, is to have the information we need to make our decisions. And clearly, I mean, you're looking for income from any source. Businesses are a potential source of income, but along with businesses come traffic impacts. And so to help us kind of talk to them, they will give us traffic studies also, but their traffic studies now can be based upon our baselines, which nobody can argue.
And how long is this gonna, how long will your traffic study be good for?
It's a 10-year window.
Okay, and
10
so
years.
the entire
10
planning board has bought into that it's a 10-year window? The entire current planning board?
Yes.
Okay.
And I guess my question is kind of follow up with that, and you just kind of said it. You're going to have a baseline traffic study that's, quote, good for 10 years. How long does a developer have to agree with your numbers? I know that's a question you can't answer.
I can't answer that. I mean, everything depends. But at least you have a baseline.
Yep.
You say, well, because once you establish a baseline, then you go, well, we're going to need a traffic light here. We're going to need signals there. We're going to need traffic controls elsewhere at some point in time. But anybody bumps us over the baseline,
Right.
They're going to have to pay for it. And that's really kind of how it works. Is a business comes in and they're going to bump us over a baseline, we're going to say, you know, you're going to have to pay for this, just like Cisco did. When Cisco developed their property, they installed those 2 traffic signals, a lot of improvements over 495. That was expensive.
And they reinforced like the road too, right, Swanson? I think they
Yeah, they
did some
did
reinforcements on
the
the road.
calming.
They widened it in the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, they widened it. I don't remember if they put sidewalks
They
in. I
did,
think
yeah,
they
they
did.
put sidewalks in.
And they did calming measures, which was like the brick walkways
Exactly.
across that makes noise when you go over it,
Right.
like kind of like rumble strips. But
Right.
and all those are valid, you know, planning tools for traffic mitigation. So, so this helps us kind of have a baseline reference in every hearing that we go into to see, well, how do you affect the baseline?
Right.
Um,
Well, 'cause, right, and I understand what you're saying, and I asked an unfair question. I just don't want, and I'm not projecting the future, I just don't want the planning board coming back in 5 years saying, okay, we gotta do it all over again, because every developer is saying that that baseline's no good.
I mean, it's impossible to say that
Yeah.
won't happen, but it's a lot less likely to happen than if we have our study done now.
Have we ever done a baseline before?
No,
Okay, so we've never done a baseline before, and so, okay, so that I didn't know. I thought we had one that's no good anymore,
no.
but now this would be our first baseline.
This is our first real whack at it
Baseline for the whole town.
for the whole town. And that was part of it. I mean, we could have done it strictly for Route 111 corridor,
Right.
which was the beginning. And then everybody said, well, what about Liberty Square Road and Hill Road? What about, well, there's multiple intersections upon Route 111.
Right.
So again, we counted them all up. I think we got 10, and then we added another 2 just in case.
Yeah.
And so I think we've got a pretty good coverage here. We're going to get a very substantial and adequate traffic study, and we feel comfortable with the vendor, which is important because the vendor was half the money of the other 2.
Okay.
And so that was big.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, how long's the quote good for? Because we can't be approved until town meeting, right?
Alec, you want to speak to that? I think we asked him that last night, and he says, yeah, you know, it'll be good till town meeting. Is that probably an accurate statement?
The quote we've received, yes. So at this point, that's good for quite a while. It's in line with previous numbers they've given us, and the planning board has also invited the consultant to come to future meetings to continue finalizing. That's where that contingency comes into play and ensures that if there's an additional benefit we're not tapping into, we have a little bit of flexibility going into it.
And just to confirm, the plan is to put this in the special town meeting within the town meeting. Is that right?
The idea was the reason we did that was to release the money as soon as possible because we want to do the initial traffic study while there's traffic, which is while school is in session. It's important to do it, and we didn't want to wait until some later date. I mean, A, we've got applications coming at us like a freight train, and B is you don't want to do a study in the summertime when nobody's on the roads. So we really want to get this, I mean, the minute we get the money, that we're going to release the study to start to put out the lines.
So in terms of planning, in terms of the capital plan, does it make sense to then put in something 9 years from now? So that, because if it's good for 10 years, you want to have it done around the time of 10 years.
I mean, yes. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, but the thing is, you put it in now, you'll placehold with it, and then we'll see if we need it later. I mean,
Well-
you know, a good question would be, where are we on build-out? With mass communities, with the MBTA Act, I mean, now, we don't know.
Well, that's why you put it in as a
That's
placeholder
why you
and you
put it in
see
a
what you
placeholder.
need. At least you know what's coming.
Right. So, I mean, at least you have something there. So, yes.
Any other questions? Okay, so 10 years. So in 3 years, we're not going to hear from the planning board that this study's old, because we hear
No.
that a lot now in meetings.
No,
We hear
no,
the
I-
study's old.
No, you're not going to, again, I think that was, and Alec, you want to back me up on this, or what
Well,
you
there's a
weigh in?
tape, right? That's all I care about, is there's a tape of that meeting last night.
There's a what?
There's a tape of that
Recording,
meeting.
a recording.
Yeah, for all the
You're
good it's
dating
going to
yourself.
do you later on.
Sorry.
We don't tape anymore, we just.
Okay, whatever. It's in the cloud somewhere, that meeting last night, right?
In
Where
the
they all
cloud,
agreed to
yes.
10 years.
Yes, in the cloud.
Okay.
Okay, Kristen, did you have any questions?
Nope, he answered everything, actually. Yeah, 'cause these are pretty much all the same questions we had. just
You're gonna get yelled at.
Yeah,
not
you're
using
gonna
the
get
mic.
hollered at, you don't, Mike.
Okay, she said,
I read it loud.
Why is she going to get yelled at?
Kirby yells at us, we don't use microphones.
Oh,
No, Mark addressed all the same questions that the select board had at our meeting last night.
Great,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
thank you, Kristen.
Okay, so there's no more questions here. Are there any questions on the other two articles? All right, and those are just cleanup, right? From what I can see.
yes, no monetary impact,
And there's no real change,
no substantive change.
right? Okay.
And by the way, that's a majority vote because actually, Alec informed me today that, that because of the way the legislature has treated affordable housing, and they want majority vote, not two-thirds vote,
Okay,
that these rental units
oh,
are going to be treated,
whatever it is,
the-
accessory apartment units?
accessory apartments, ADUs,
Yeah.
are going to be treated as majority vote
Okay.
articles.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, I didn't see that one coming, but
Yeah.
it makes sense.
Just to make a comment actually on this. I mean, we're in a level services budget year, so this is like an additional thing in a way on the budget. So
The
we should-
traffic study?
Yeah, I think so.
It's a warrant article,
It's a warrant article. Okay.
so we can write that as part of our recommendation.
Mark, is that a want or is that a must
What's that?
to legislature? I've read.
It's a must. That's law.
You mean zoning changes are now two-thirds?
No, just.
Zoning changes that affect housing, the legislature is on a roll for affordable housing, whatever that might be. I mean, it can be many things. But basically, in an ADU is considered affordable housing. So therefore, the word from on high is that will be a majority vote, not a two-thirds vote.
So they indicated when they're going to make condominiums affordable then, as part of the law?
That's been my question for 20 years.
So, I'm sorry, so just my own question. condominium as buying or renting is affordable? Both?
No, forget, we're not talking about
Neither.
condos. The condos are not. It's the accessory apartment bylaw that we have that's considered affordable because realistically, you can only build one so big and you can only
Yeah.
charge so much rent. So those are considered affordable, which is why it's a majority vote.
I'm asking
Gary's
because
question was-
legislation is making changes. We have a lot of condos in town. Why aren't they affordable?
Right. Well, that would be not a question for me.
I know. I
That's
just don't
way
know
above
if
my
Mark had
pay
heard anything coming from the legislature
Those are not deed restricted.
in that direction. Houses aren't either. Affordable houses aren't deed restricted.
Well, but.
But this is just-
But built as
Sorry.
affordable housing is deed restricted. Somewhere along the line, it's gonna have to crack. The legislature's gonna have to recognize that our condos are affordable in the grand scheme of things because they're a lot less than the average price of the home. But right now, they don't have any real impetus to,
I mean, I think that condos probably, their rental units probably rent cheaper than Paddock, right? And Paddock's got affordable
Yeah.
units that rent for $24.50 a month.
yeah, no, the
All of that is
the condos are half of that.
Well, it's all considered affordable, but they only have 25% of their units that are,
Truly, yeah.
well, that are actually have less cost less money.
But Paddock was built under the appropriate legislation, laws, right? The land was
Was, yeah, 25%, yeah.
That gave us deed-restricted affordable housing. But the state has never considered our apartments or the condominiums on Swanson Road, for example, to be affordable housing. We can never use that against our affordable housing limit.
agreed, I understand.
I mean,
Okay.
call
So,
Jamie
sorry.
Eldridge in sometime would be a good idea.
From this warrant,
Select board could do that.
from the warrant, Mark, accessory housing and traffic study. What's the third warrant article?
The other part was, it was again, insubstantial or minor changes to the zoning bylaw where the Attorney General reviewed our last vote on zoning changes, and one of the things they noticed that was gone, or that was in there, was that relocation of a waste disposal facility. And they said, well, you can't take that out. And we had taken it out in our prior bylaw, so they said that you gotta put it back in. So that's, actually, is that how it is, Alec? Do we have to put it back in, or we just eliminated yeah, we had to eliminate where it said you can't do it. And that's A, so that, we're not really voting on that because it's not there. The other part was, help me out.
So, Mark, to offer clarity on this, the Attorney General required that we remove language from our bylaw erroneously. This language is grandfathered based on the date that Boxborough originally adopted it. After consultation with legal counsel, counsel and I agree that we are entitled to our grandfathering clause, and so we are going to resubmit the identical language, and this time provide the evidence that substantiates our grandfathering clause.
On what?
Commercial dumps.
Commercial dump, that's what it was. So, we said in our prior bylaw, before we did a rewrite, it was commercial dumps, you can't have them. Then the AG said, well, you can't do that. And then we took it out of our bylaw because they said you can't do it. And we said, but then we found out that there's a grandfathering clause, as if you had it in your bylaw before they changed their rules, you could keep it in there. So we said, okay. So we had two choices. We could either take the AG to court and say that their ruling was improper, that would have cost us money. This way, instead, what we say is, well, you were wrong, we're gonna put it back in, and now, and as Alex said, we're gonna show them the evidence that that's what it was. So clearly, they didn't look at it closely, and so we're just gonna put it back in, what was already there. So that has no financial impact.
And we appreciate you not taking them to court.
Okay.
They have deeper pockets than we do.
I don't know, I said next time, if they do it to us again, maybe we ding them in court.
I
because-
like this better. I
Okay.
just think we should just stick to
We
like
kinda
poking
figured-
them a little bit and getting them to come around.
I figured that would be your opinion.
So you had mentioned something about this being, because this is a warrant, it's a
Yes,
one-time.
It's a warrant article, yeah. I mean, I'm fully in support of the traffic study. I'm cognizant of the fact that we're in a year where we have some tough choices to make about the other parts of the budget, education budget, and we are putting in things in raise and appropriate, which are impacting our tax bill. So I think, I'm fully in support of this, but I think we just need to recognise that there's two halves to the budget. And we have to be even-handed about how we deal with that, I think, a little bit. So it's a comment, really, more rather than
Okay.
an objection.
Okay, so if there's no other questions for Mark, we're going to let him go, or stay. You can join Kristen in the audience.
I would love to eat my dinner.
AdCom is across the hall if you'd like to, AdCom's across the hall meeting, if you'd like to go join them. Alec, thank you very much.
Thanks,
Do we
Alex.
need Alec for anything else this budget season? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Thanks, Alec.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Mark.
We appreciate
Thanks,
you
Alec.
coming.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Okay. George, are you heading out? You gonna try to join, if you can join us by Zoom? Feel free?
Will do.
Okay. The good thing about Boxborough is it's not that far. Okay. So, we're not gonna vote any of the warrant articles until I get some language around them. I've been told by Mike and, oh my God.
Shall we?
Thank you. Good God, linked out. We'll have final language for most of the articles within the next couple of weeks. But we even if we're all in favor of this traffic study, we can't until we see what it says.
Sorry about that.
But we did talk about the funding sources on that already. And that's an argument. Okay.
I can't sit here coughing.
All right. Okay, so now we're going to start on the budget stuff. We're going to start with we talked about not being able to do much on our budget until we kind of put a pin as to where we're going to be at the region, with the regional assessment. So we're going to talk about that. Before we do that, I want to just, a little bit of housekeeping. I want to thank you two for going Saturday.
Sure.
That was great that you were there all day. Thank you, Kristen, too, for going. There was a couple of things that came up during that meeting that I was sitting at home and I'm getting my stuff together for my taxes, and I'm thinking, oh, God, there's not a lot of historical knowledge. So I just kind of want to touch base on a couple of things that were said, just to clarify a couple of things. When I turned the meeting on, and granted, I was 20 minutes late turning the meeting on, so I apologize. They were in the process of showing a slide that showed how low at some point the Boxborough assessments were. Remember that?
Yeah, vaguely, yeah.
So what I'd like to know is if they also talked about the saving shift, because that was all around the time of regionalization. And so I'd like to know if in context, when they showed these really low, and they were very low assessments, if they showed the shift of the savings to Acton from Boxborough.
Because we had to pay Acton.
Yeah, so I'm going to bring that up right now. I want to share a
I
document.
don't remember that. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
You probably guys would have remembered if they said, oh,
Yeah.
and thank you,
Yeah,
Boxborough, you paid Acton.
That level of detail didn't come up.
All right, so if I can do this, which you know how I am with sharing documents,
You're doing good so far.
so far I am. Okay.
The thing is, is it relevant at this stage?
Well,
Yeah, so
I-
what's your intent?
Yeah.
Well, I just, well, because I think it is, because I've had some people say to me, well, your assessment was so low back then, but it was low for a reason. It was part of the regional agreement. It was intentional. And there was a shift of, in some years, up to $2 million to into Acton's favor. So I don't need to show it, but I sent it out. It's Appendix A on the regional agreement. And I do think it's important that we understand.
Just pick your tab.
Thank you. I'm trying. I hate this Zoom thing. I think it's important that everybody understands that while our assessment may have been, 1.5% in that year, there was a significant amount of a shift from what would have been a savings to Acton. So Acton got like 80% of the savings in the first year of regionalization, and there's an entire formula, and that's what I had sent out to you guys.
But
So I
that-
do think it's important.
But that was based on a negotiated agreement between.
Absolutely, but they
Yeah.
need to show, but I want clarification that if you're going to show the one side, we need to understand the full context of it. And
So
so,
so the numbers that were presented, you don't feel included that math?
I didn't see that amount included on the slide. So I didn't see the actual shift that you could see, all things being equal, here's table 6, which was much less complicated back then. Here's the Acton assessment, here's the Boxborough assessment. Here's the savings, because they had done this whole thing where they came up with the savings. It was very complicated in every year. And here's the savings, and it's $2 million. So now 80% of that $2 million is going to go in Acton's favor. So now here's Acton's assessment going down and Boxborough's assessment going up. And that's fine. I just want to I think it's important that if you're going to show that, you show it all in context. And you've got to show both sides of it. I don't think you can just say Boxborough had 7 years of a very low assessment when the reality was we also didn't share in the savings equally, and that was intentional because when we regionalized, if we didn't do that cost sharing, and I guess I'm trying to get to, we've always been a really good partner to the region. We've always, funded education. If we didn't do that cost sharing or the savings sharing, Acton would have been paying for our students. So we did that intentionally. It was negotiated, but it was done all in good faith. And so I do think that needed to be shown. Now, I'm not saying it was intentionally not shown. Quite frankly, there's not a lot of history and historical knowledge within central office either. Marie left. I'm not even sure. When I looked at it, I'm like, I don't even know if they know about their savings because you'll just look at the assessments. You don't necessarily look at that little line that says cost shifting, and it's in the back of the agreement, and it has now sunset. So it's in the agreement that was signed, but it's sunsetted. So that was one of the things that I did feel it was important that we put out there. And then I just want to clarify something the select board members said, that Boxborough, Acton pays for the first year and a half of a Boxborough student. That is just not true.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
And nobody corrected it.
No,
It was
well, first off, I didn't say anything because I thought some of the comments were so bizarre and the math was so wrong. I didn't know where to begin.
Yes, well.
And we're speaking about the same
Yes.
Select board member.
select board member,
Yes.
thank you.
So here's my problem with that, and this really, it bothers me a lot. I understand that we are in the middle of a push and pull on the finances. Before regionalization, there was a lot of push and pull because even before regionalization, our attendance was going down. So our assessments were going down. Acton's was going up. Acton was cranky about it. We were thrilled about whatever, right? That's the way it is. But before we regionalized, and while we were regionalizing, we heard a lot of people who were against regionalization in Acton saying, well, we pay for Boxborough's kids' education. They get a deal, which is untrue. We got through that. We worked together as partners for many years. I mean, we took the regionalization vote in June of 2013. We worked very hard as a school committee, and I think on both sides of both towns, to say, okay, there's no more Acton Boxborough, it's one school system. I understand that there's a lot of financial pressure on the school system right now, and there's a lot of, well, Boxborough doesn't want to support. We're supporting the schools. It's not about that. But I also think that rhetoric, and that's what that is, that goes back to a time that we don't want to go back to. That is just, it was just, I'm going to say it was misinformation, because if that select board member has evidence of that, awesome. But that just isn't realistic.
I just don't think that's impacting anyone's decision about what we do this year.
I think we need to, in a second, I'll call on her to say.
Tell him to say, grab a mic. I'll take Tony.
Grab the mic. I think, but I do think, Tony, it impacts, the rhetoric is not healthy. And whatever decision we make here today, I want to make sure that we're not going back to a conversation that is unhealthy. And I want to make sure that, I want to put out there that I think we've been a really good partner with the region for a lot of years. I think it's been good for both communities for 50 some odd years. And I think that's important to say, because otherwise this becomes, we don't need those comments. Those comments are not helpful. Let's talk about what's important. And what's important is, balancing the needs of the school with the needs of the communities, in my opinion. So I felt like those two things need to be cleared up, because I come from a place where those comments were made pretty consistently 15 years ago, and it was unhelpful.
So I didn't get the sense on Saturday that it was a dysfunctional group of people. I mean, there were some wacko comments there, I think.
And I was just clearing up the
I think, but
That was the most.
you sort of like roll your eyes and pass over it in a way, and it's like, but it's not going to impact what we do today. So, yeah, let's note it, but I think it's let's not get over excited about it. I was saying.
Right,
it's
the
still
balance
kinda
between let's not give it any weight, basically. I think.
Yeah, I just want to, like I said, I think we need to be in a
I
better
hear-
place, and I want to put that out there. I'm going to let Gary go, and then I'm going to.
I was just make a statement that, I wasn't there unfortunately, but it's unfortunate that a select person is making that kind of comment. You would think they would know or understand the finances of the school system.
So,
I'll leave it like that.
I think that's what, if it was a comment from the audience, I wouldn't have addressed
Well,
it.
I can understand. It's a math mistake, isn't it? Really, because we work on a 3-year trailing average, if I'm correct. So, given that our enrollment's going up, then we're always going to be playing catch up a bit on that number while it's still going up. If it goes down, it will be the other way. So,
Well, you're still playing catch-up, it's just, you catch down,
Yeah,
you're playing catch down.
But it happens on both sides.
yeah, of course,
So at the end of the
course, yeah,
day,
yeah. So,
right.
but that's just a simple math misunderstanding, I think, by that person. I was saying,
Okay.
and that's where you can just sort of pass over and say, well, yeah.
Tony, you're a gentleman. If you want to call it a misunderstanding, you go for it. Kristen?
Okay, I actually.
So just introduction, because there's some people.
I'm sorry, Kristen Hilberg, Chair of the Select Board. I actually, Tony, I appreciate how, what you just said. I really do, that we don't want to go back in time. But maybe it's because I'm a lifer, and Foxborough is always, oh, you're riding on our coattails. Aren't you lucky to be here? And again, this is I'm a lifer. I've been here my entire life. So now, we have become equal partners. We have paid our fair share. We do support the school. And my concern is that when it's painted out that Foxborough has a history of taking advantage of Acton, and look at what they're doing again. They're not supporting what Acton wants to have happen. They're not listening. They're just trying to get a free ride again. So that I'm a little sensitive to that, and I do acknowledge that I've got a history. So, and I wanted to be abundantly clear that we're not anti-school. We're not anti-education. We are so proud of the region and what our schools and our children have accomplished and what the teachers do for us. But at the end of the day, especially the select board and the FinCom, we're responsible for all the voters. So we do have to look at the big picture. And I don't believe, personally, this is not the sentiment of the board, this is my sentiment, that it's unreasonable to say we need a compromise between everything you want and the draconian burn the place down. One of the school committee members talked about, breaking the school. We don't want to break the school. But, so getting back to it, the whole reason I'm talking right now is that it is important to address the fact that we are supportive, and we do pay our fair share, and we will continue to pay our fair share when it's determined what that is, meaning what both towns agree to.
All right, so, okay, go ahead.
Well, I've just got some stuff to say about Saturday too, so are you done?
No, go ahead.
Okay. First, I want to thank Liz and Lakshmi for standing up for Foxborough the other day, because that was awesome. Thank you so much. And there's a couple of things I want to say, because when Adam was here last time on Capital Saturday, and we talked about percentage of households that have kids in the school system, and he said, well, we're looking at it, and with the census, it's really more 30 to 35% of the households. Well, there are 895 kids in the school district from AB. According to the census, there are 5,534 residents in town. That makes our percentage of residents who are students at AB 16.16%. So I think we need to not let the narrative, talk about, if you're looking at everybody under 18, that doesn't really, not all those people are at the region, right? And hopefully by the time the 4-year-olds get to the region, the 17, 18-year-olds are actually graduating. I mean, if they're doing their job, the kids are graduating now too, right? So they're coming in and they're going out.
Pretty sure we got that covered.
I'm hoping we got that covered. And then, gosh, there was one other thing I was going to say. Now I don't remember what it was. Oh, the other thing, because we've gotten a lot of new members on this committee, and I'm all about the schools. I mean, I worked in them for 18 years. But I also think we have to understand, it's easy for the school committee and the administration to say, well, we're going to cut 90 teachers if the override doesn't pass, or we're going to cut 20 if we only take $2 million. All we can do is tell you how much we're willing to give you. It's a bottom line assessment. We have no control. Where do I think it needs to come from? It might be very different than the administration. And trust me, listening to what they're talking about, I know it's different. I think we need to look at stuff that's not teachers. We might have to cut some teachers, but let's look at other things also. And But that's not up to us, because that's, like, if I say, let's cut, let's make extracurricular self-funding, that's not gonna get people to the ballot box as money as if we say, well, we're gonna cut 25 or 30 teachers. So, or we're gonna close the Conant, or whatever we're gonna do. I think that we just need to understand, it's a bottom line, and we don't have any control over what they do once the towns vote the budgets. Because Ed Reform gave the school committee and the superintendent of schools the ability to do whatever they want with the money once we give it to them. I just want you all to realize that, because we can all say, well, you need to do this, this, and this, but we don't really have any control, so.
All right, so I want to start this conversation with the financial model.
Sure.
Can you put it up with what came in this afternoon, because you've got the updated one, right?
Yeah, I do.
And have an easier time sharing.
He'll have a much easier time sharing. He won't hurt himself. He'll get it up quicker. He won't look ridiculous doing it. So the budget that was sent out today by Mike still has 6.9% in there, because that's what we told Mike to have in the budget. We told Mike, put 6.9 until this is figured out way back when. But this model allows us, if you look at the top line, for those of you who are new to the model, allows us to enter the increase to the educational budget, and then that affects our budget, so we can see everything in context. So currently, the school committee, while they said they would go back and discuss a possible $1 million cut.
Do we have any feedback on that?
I do not,
Updates?
because the meeting's tomorrow night.
Okay.
But they're also going to take.
Thursday night.
They're also going to take a vote at that meeting. So whatever the discussion is, then they're going to vote the preliminary budget. My concern in listening to that is it's $1 million, and the advice was from OPEB, but I just think that kicks the can down the road and just exacerbates the problem for next year.
I thought it ended up with it not being OPEB.
Yeah, that's what I
Okay,
thought.
is that how,
Yeah.
it was a little bit, I was listening to it, so,
I think they got the impression that,
Liz,
We
can you
did-
just get the microphone from
yeah,
Kristen?
we don't want them to continue making those type of kick the can down the road decisions.
Again,
Okay.
not our control once that we vote it, right?
Well, but we
but
were
nonetheless.
communicating that, look, let's not
Yeah.
get in this position
Liz is
again.
gonna,
I just wanted to let you guys know that our,
Wait, introductions?
I'm sorry, this is Liz.
oh, sorry, I'm Liz Folks, school committee member. And the school committee's finance subcommittee did meet today, and it's not going to be, that's not what's presented on Thursday.
Okay.
So that's just
What's
the.
not OPEB?
Not like everything from OPEB. That's what we had talked
Whatever
about on
it is,
Budget
it is,
Saturday.
but it's
which-
not OPEB, okay,
Right.
because that was
Correct.
really, I want to make sure we.
Or
have
at least
that.
not, it's not like just OPEB. It's not like we're, planning to just remove that completely. So that's about as much as I know. I know that they met, and I know that there are other options.
Okay, great, because I think that's important, because I just felt like OPEB was like going to do nothing but kick this can down the road. So if we look at, we had talked about a 10% budget, can you make that 10% so we can look at the difference?
Sure.
So, and then,
And I can give you the numbers. I did examples anywhere here, which what that means in terms of our tax rate and our the effect on the average home in Boxborough.
okay,
So at 10% and at 14.37%, which I think is the proposal I heard from the school board.
right, the other day,
And
that's what we
then, and then the A budget, and then the bottom line there is what the current tax rate is. So, in other words, what's the increase from last year in tax rate if we go for any of these examples?
Okay,
So,
so,
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
So Tony, right now, we're at a 14.99%, correct?
Yeah.
And with a 14% increase, we would be at a tax rate of 15.91.
Correct. Yeah.
And let's just keep in mind, these are all approximate numbers, right? We don't have real numbers until the fall, right? So they're good approximate numbers.
No, right, exactly.
Yep. Okay, go ahead.
No,
Did you have
that
anything
was
else?
it, yeah, that was it, yeah, that was, I just wanted to make sure I understood exactly what we're looking at. So the 14% increase would make a tax rate of $15.91.
0.91%, yeah.
And then, right, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
you're right, 10%. And then the A budget, which is currently the latest one we have,
Right,
which is the 15.59% increase, that tax rate would be 16%.
yeah.
Can I ask you, Tony, I don't know how you would do this, but I'm sure you can figure it out. I think it's really hard when we're looking at the A budget, and they said cut $1 million. Okay, so then my mind's going, how much is that? And I watched ALG yesterday morning, so I think Acton's thinking 830,000 of it's theirs and 170,000 of it's ours. I'd much rather look at the A budget, and if we took $500,000 off the Boxborough assessment, where does that put us, do you know? Or can you figure that out without, I mean, I just think if you put in a percentage, it's just, I don't know what that does.
Why are you
but-
saying 500,000?
I don't know, I'm trying to come up with a number off of the A budget. I don't think $1 million off the, like, it's only 130 off of our,
Because $1
Bottom
million
line.
off the budget, it translates to,
You're
like
not-
you're saying, 130,000.
100.
It's whittled
178.
down by the time it gets to us.
Right,
it's like.
because it's a percentage of.
Oh, okay.
Right.
okay.
So I was just
Well-
thinking, if we looked at what we pay for our assessment and said, let's take $500,000 off that, let's see where that puts us. Because I don't think 14% really helps us a whole lot in terms of,
Well, we know 15.59% gives us a budget of 16,118.
okay, so if you took $500,000 off of that, it would
So,
give us.
so if it did 15%,
That's not $500,000.
No,
yeah. So we did 14%,
Still not.
yeah. So you've got to be down at 13%?
hold on, we haven't done, oh,
No,
oh, I
sorry.
like that,
Oh, oh,
look at you.
Sorry, wrong thing.
Oh.
Whoop, yeah.
What about?
Is that where we're at? I can't tell.
So what was number 4? I forgot what number was 4 now was.
What it was initially?
Yeah.
Hold on, I have it written down somewhere. 16,114,
Okay, so
from
that's
32.
so that's about 500,000 then. So that's 12%.
Okay, so 12% is about $500,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So-
12%, okay. I'm just writing it
I
down.
mean, I just guess I feel like that number at least helps us leave some capacity for the next year, because even if they take $1 million off, I mean, what I heard on ALG yesterday morning was they're gonna then use future capacity next year, which is fine, because they're gonna have it if they go with the $6.6 million override. If we go with a 15.59% increase this year, we're gonna have no money for next year. So if we fail an override, then, you know, they're gonna be back at the same drawing board. I guess it would be nice if we had some capacity next year too. I don't know.
Well, I think when I model this out though, what I see is that we're going to need an override in Boxborough at some point in
Right.
the next couple of years, one next year or the year after. We're going that direction regardless of the school budget. Actually, I mean, because we're living in a world where everything's increasing.
3%'s not realistic
We're
anymore.
not, so I mean, even with new growth, we're 2.5% plus new growth. We're talking about 3.5%, maybe 4%, growth each year. But costs are growing much higher than that, just on everything. So we're not living in the world where we're not going to have an override at some point in time.
No, I don't want to not have an override. I want to have time to plan it, and I don't
Right.
want to get caught with our pants down like Acton did.
But that's why I think we should be planning for an override next year now or the year after.
Sorry,
Based-
I mean,
So-
I think, Kristen,
so-
I really think like BLF needs to get stood up again with school committee, FinCom, and, select board, so we can start working, or have a task force, so we can look for an override next year or whatever. I just think that if it doesn't pass, then we're screwed, because then, again, they'll throw,
So, I understand you think that we're gonna need an override down the road, and I'm not disagreeing with that necessarily. But I'm worried about it being next year. I'm worried about, the problem is 15.59, right? Or 56, is it 5956? That is an override number for our taxpayers.
Not this year, it's not.
No, well,
No, I know what
it,
you're going.
from a tax perspective,
For all intents and purposes.
it's
Yeah.
an override number for them.
that they
This
don't
is
get to
what-
vote on.
That they don't, right, so normally we have an override, they get to vote at town meeting, then they get to vote at the ballot. It either makes it in both places, it doesn't. This tax number for residents is an override tax number with no vote. They don't get a voice in this. If we say, okay, we're gonna go with 15.59, there is no debate, there's no say. That's what bothers me. I feel, we need, so then we're saying, okay, so this is an override number, people get their tax bills, they kind of suck it up because we endorse this. If we endorse this number, most likely, because Jean's not with us, God rest her, no one's going to get up and try to cut this back down, right? So if we endorse this number, this goes through. This year we get it.
Well, it is voted on, right there? It is voted on
at town meeting.
Yeah.
But most likely, someone's not going to get up to try to cut this. So
you don't think?
I don't know. So this is the number that gets paid for this year. Then next year, we say, oh, now we have an override because we accepted this number last year. That's when they get to vote. And then if that fails, or we have no capacity, I'm not seeing the region saying to us, well, what can you afford for an assessment? Like they've done in Acton for the last 4 or 5 years. What can you afford, 3%? Okay, we'll budget at 3%, which is what's kind of gotten us into this position to begin with. So then we have an override next year and it fails. And so there's my concern. We need to be looking out long-term. And yeah, maybe we need an override in 3 years, but then we need to look at where we are financially with projections and where the region is, and we need to understand where they're coming in. Peter Light, I specifically said to him, you need to bring 3-year projections, and he said, well, we really couldn't do it. But there's an ALG spreadsheet that shows 5-year projections for the Acton assessment. So somehow they got that. So I don't know how we support this without long-term understanding.
So this is where we are right now in terms. This is with a 15.59% budget. So the top line is the levy ceiling based on our property values. So we're in a world where property values in Boxwell have increased significantly in the last few years. The middle line is the levy capacity, the levy ceiling. The maximum levy, basically, levy capacity. So, and the bottom line is the levy itself. So we're getting closer and closer to that line. Mm-hmm. And even if you have a lower budget, it actually, your lower school budget, it doesn't actually make much difference to that line, actually. So we're moving in that direction anyway. That's really the message that needs to be out there, is that we need to be moving, we need to be recognising the trend. And it's really about this top line here, which is actually driving a lot of this, because we have more capacity there.
I mean, Tony, to your point, that line, in just simple viewing, that line has jumped up a lot, where the blue line hasn't jumped up a lot in the past 2 years.
It's growing, but that's not all school, is it? It's all things, right? It's all things.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly, because you would hope that the blue line somewhat mimicked your maximum capacity.
Ideal world, it will, but the reality is we're not living in a 2.5% world. We're living in a 5, 6, 7% world.
I totally understand that, but we're I guess we're going to need an override anyway is not enough for me to say, oh, okay, well, we can just accept the 16%, because the other issue and other concern I have is, again, on Saturday, did you see structural changes? I saw, well, we can look into getting rid of 2-tier busing or going back to 2-tier busing, but we have to study it. So it's not good for FY25, and then we'll study it in FY25, maybe implement it in FY26. The only thing I heard is we're going to deal with the medical insurance. Well, you don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. You have to deal with medical insurance. So great. But where are the other things? We're going to look at, they're going to look at a bunch of stuff, but I heard at best we're looking at FY26.
But a lot of those things you can't just change on a dime, right? Like the school choice, within school choice, you can't change that overnight. It takes a few years to roll that out.
That I understand.
The big ticket items require a lot of analysis to do correctly, otherwise they could
But
blow
here's
up.
the thing, is who fell asleep at the switch? I mean, it's not like this is all Acton's been at their capacity for at least 3 or 4 years, right? Where they've only increased the budget by 3%.
Is that what's driving this a little bit? I mean, no offense to people of Acton.
I think it's a combination of stuff. I don't know.
Here's what the budget changes. But this is the school budget change, 24 to 25.
Right.
So all the big ticket items are health insurance, obviously, which has been a big one. Obviously, personnel is a driver, because personnel costs are a big driver for the school district. And this, special ed transportation and out-of-district tuition, which are things which are mandatory and out of control. out of control of the school district.
It's 1% of the budget, though,
Wait,
or 1.5% of the budget. In a $115 million budget.
Right, but it's still 640 grand that we're short.
Yeah. So the point is, a lot of these changes are things which are, some are one-off this year, and some are things which, like we have in the town. We have the same issues in town with health insurance and
Right, but
retirement plans.
But
all
we
those
got
things
in
which-
front of health insurance, and we're getting in
We-
front
we
of health
did.
insurance. So I guess that's my concern. They didn't get in front of health insurance. They acted like totally caught off guard in October. I don't know how that happens.
But we can't relitigate the past.
I understand, but the same people are in charge. And so what changes to next year? We cannot afford this in another 2 or 3 years. In 2 years, so, one of the things that Peter said, well, the contracts this year and next year is settled. And then in the third year, because if you're doing a 3-year kind of projection, we're going out, we're going to need to negotiate. I mean, look at the teachers' contracts that are being negotiated. There's too many unknowns for me by people who let this happen to be able to be comfortable that this isn't going to happen again in 3 years.
Well, then the answer is not really, is really to think about how we manage the process rather than.
How do we manage the process?
Well,
we elect our school committee
hold on.
members.
To that point, I think just ending up with the budgets we did is a process problem to me, right? So we ended up with
Like an A and the B.
the A and the B,
Yeah.
or, the A budget is what it is. I think it's a fair affair. Here's level service, let's just call it that. But the B budget, I don't understand how, I understand the math and why it is that way. But to present that to us, I have a problem with that. It's not a real number to us, and it's not a fair option to us. It's,
Or to anybody, because it's to both towns.
right.
And the only thing also, Becky, is that kind of what you guys just said, and it just hit me that, and we've been asking for structural large changes. Well, you can't have large structural changes in 1 year. We're talking about any one of what we just talked about, school choice or anything else like that. You can't do that in 1 year. So we're behind the bus on that. So there can't be a large structural change right now in 1 year. You want to have large structural changes to get the budget under control in 2, 3, 5 years? Okay, you can do that. But you can't do it in 1 year because you've got to analyze it and you've got to look at it. And the point is yes, someone fell behind it because they should have been looking at this last year or 2 years ago so that we wouldn't be in it and saying, oh, we're going to make structural change. Well, you can't make a structural change in 1 year. You should have been making these the community, the school committee, should have been making these structural changes last year or the year before.
Okay, go ahead.
So, and Adam mentioned that, there could have been a better process, and I'm not sure where that gap is, but, I don't know if it's our
Well,
representation
what Adam
or-
said is that Boxborough didn't engage. We've been engaging since we heard about it, since October.
Right, we had
we've
the
been
first meeting
sitting-
about this HIT since October, I think.
We've been
it was.
waiting for ALG to make a decision.
Because I don't know why,
we've been
because
told-
ALG isn't actually in charge.
Because I understand, but ALG needs to make a decision on their override so that the school could put it through a budget. And the reality was, we were engaged, very engaged. I was watching ALG meetings, come on, like seriously. But we couldn't do anything until Acton made a decision on override, because that is what dictated the budget. If Acton said no override, they would have been looking at 6.9, right? So it wasn't until they finally made that decision, they were gonna go for an override, that we could say, okay, so now, here's the B budget, or the A budget, and this is like, well, this is not acceptable, it's just too high. So we did what we could do, given the circumstances. How we wanna deal with that, in the future, however we deal with it, but I think that we were engaged.
Yeah.
My question to you is, you were there Saturday, I was watching it, it is different when you watch it on the screen, right? Did you feel like, because what I felt is that anything that was mentioned to be a real structural change kind of got like shrugged off by the school committee. Like there wasn't a whole lot of interest in changing anything.
No, I got the impression that some of them wanted to do some things immediately, especially with regard to the transportation. It sounded like that, some of them perceived that as low-hanging fruit and something that we could do very quickly. Other members disagree. I think maybe even Adam, or I shouldn't speak, I don't know, but there were people here that who understood the immediacy of the issue, if you will. But I agree with you. These are all, we have to study these, and, okay, when are we going to start studying them? And, well, we haven't started yet, and
And we're not sure what we're going to study, and
Right.
not sure what we want to do.
So-
And so, to me, that's a real problem, Tony. I get that we're in this position right now. Sherry said 11% keeps the lights on and pays the COLAs and fixed costs and yada, yada.
I mean,
11%.
And Peter has come to us and he's told us, he knows he has a structural problem with the budget, right? So if you have a structural problem with that type of budget, these are the actions you have to be taking.
I think the other thing I think I got from that was that I think there is an appetite within the school committee and within Acton that we have a much bigger part to play than we played in the past. I think I got a sense that there's some openness there to actually think about how do we really work together going forward better than we have done.
Because this is the first time Boxborough's ever, in 50 years, pushed back on an assessment.
Well, maybe it's
And
okay.
I think
yeah.
all of a sudden, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. So they really, because we could,
Yeah.
'cause we've never pushed back.
I'm somewhat new to this, so I don't know, but I got the impression that there were more openness. There's some openness there about we need to be more involved in that process earlier on.
But
Sure.
here-
Did you get
to
that?
what
Yeah, I
John
would
said with
disagree.
the structural stuff.
Okay, George, I'm going to come to you
Hold on.
after.
What you said
Becky.
about the structural stuff, and, Peter mentioned that, he knows he needs to do this. But for the last several years, we've been living with 3% budgets at the school system, right? Because Acton didn't have the levy capacity. Why weren't they looking at those structural changes 2 years ago, right? Or 3 years ago, when they knew they had a problem, instead of all of a suddenness and, oh my God, the house is going to burn down.
Because they had enough of their levy capacity left, is that?
Well, I don't think they did. They've been living with 3% budgets for a
The
while,
3%
right?
assessments.
3% assessment increase.
I don't know what they've managed to do. I mean, I think through some attrition, there's been, they claim they've cut staff. I think, they've made some cuts over the last couple of years, but nothing like this.
But they could have been all this time when they were doing 3% assessment increases to Acton. They knew that Acton was going to run out of levy capacity, and yet they still did not start looking at structural stuff then, and they should have.
But maybe there's a point to be made though, is that, if they have been keeping a very tight budget the last few years for that reason, which it sounds like they have, what I heard on Saturday was that this seems to be an organisation that's actually pretty tightly managed and pretty close to the bone. I don't think there's any fat in there, personally. So now you've got a situation where you've kept it very tight. You've got a school system which is actually, in terms of value for money, producing very good results for us. 18,000 a student, which is below the state average, and we know the results are good from the school. So I think to sort of, and I think now's not the time to sort of start saying we've got to cut back even further on that, because I think we risk losing what we have there in that school system.
Yeah, if you break their budget down across all of the components, and they did that in the charts, in virtually every segment but a few, they are below the state average in terms of, whether it's administration, salaries, capital, et cetera.
There's no 18,000 per student, it's 20 and 25, I'm pretty sure. I heard those numbers many weeks ago.
No, it's 18.
There's no
for the-
18,000.
The state average is more like 23, 24. I
Yeah,
think.
so for AB, the latest data is it's in the 18 plus range, and it's,
I'm really having a hard time believing that. but
You know
okay.
what, George, I need you to talk a little bit closer to your computer,
Sorry.
because it's.
I said I'm having a hard time believing that. I remember something where Becky showed a bunch of information that actually made it look like more like in the neighborhood of 20,000 for the elementary schools and about 24, 25 for the high school, which is commensurate with Lincoln Sudbury, Concord Carlisle, and that sort of thing.
I was looking again today, George, on the DESE site, and it's all on there if you go and look. And we're about 18,000, and we're actually below like Lincoln Sudbury and Concord Carlisle and those guys.
I just believe something must not be getting counted in that case, but okay. I did have a question or an
Yeah.
issue to raise, but I'm interrupting. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go.
No,
Sure.
that's perfectly fine. You're part of the committee. Go ahead.
Okay, so I've got the slide from Peter Light, which was came from the Boxborough FinCom, and it really had to do with, the budget from the school system, and it was dated to February 6th, 2024, and it's page number 8, budgetary impact on assessments. And I think that shows up in the school budget in various different forms. Anyway, a line on there really caught my attention, and it starts with an A budget, and then it has a Boxborough 10% assessment, and that's 110,800,000 is the budget. And whereas the A budget, of course, is 115 million, and then there's a B budget shown there. And I guess what I would like to say is, I would find it a much easier to talk about the school budget if the B budget was in fact this Boxborough 10% assessment, and which indeed is 10% for Boxborough and 5.61 for Acton. And I don't know where all those particular numbers came from, but I like the look of it an awful lot better than going right for the A budget, which is 15.6% for Boxborough and 11.4% for Acton. And what if that doesn't happen? So anyway, that's just my 2 cents worth that I'd like to throw in there.
So George, I'm missing something because
Hold on,
my understanding is the B budget is
I'm going to bring it up right now.
6.9% for Boxborough and 3% or so for Acton.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
That's correct. No, and this slide shows that. But this
Okay.
slide also shows, this particular slide, which I'm sorry, I'm not in a good position here to put that up. It shows a Boxborough 10%, and it doesn't.
George,
label
can
it.
you look at the
I know what that
screen
is.
right now? Is this the slide you're
That's the
talking
slide,
about?
that's the one, perfect, beautiful.
Okay.
So you
Alright.
take that line in the middle, 110,800,000, right?
Yep.
And it shows way more palatable numbers. That I really, that I think that'd be a good conversation starter, as opposed to just going A budget or nothing.
So if I'm not mistaken, that 10% came out of a discussion we had when Peter was here, and we said, what would happen if we went to 10% for Boxborough's
Yeah.
assessment?
And he put that
He
on the
brought
slide,
this
didn't he?
slide that night.
Yes.
We must have had that conversation with Adam or something. So 10% doesn't cover their fixed costs. 11% covers their fixed costs, according to Sherry. So-
I obviously am in no position to argue that, I don't know.
Well, that's what, based on what Sherry said. So I wouldn't, for me, it doesn't make sense to go under that. Doesn't necessarily, I'm not sure that that's.
Under
what-
11.
Under 11, we have to, at a minimum, be at where fixed costs are.
Why, if there's a B budget proposed as a reasonable alternative when there's no override, which obviously does some serious chopping and slashing, then a 10% budget is not totally ridiculous. I mean, 11% would be, right, I get that, but.
No, and I do think that that's part of the problem. It's, we can't cut any more out of this budget. But if the override fails, we can go down to a 1.73% increase.
Well, that's a whole, we
Which
can't
doesn't
control.
even match inflation.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't really, I think if you wanted to, you could come up with a compromise.
We have to proceed with the assumption that the override will pass in Acton, and we will have a reasonable increase in the regional budget. You can't just, second guess.
Yeah,
it and think.
we can proceed on that, but then, okay, so I guess, I don't know, are we all kind of entrenched as to where we are here? I mean, is there any, I do wanna
I
let-
think what I heard at the end was the school committee seemed amenable to finding another, it sounds like $1 million was the limit. It seemed like that was amenable to them. Would you agree with me on that?
Yeah,
so $1 million decreases our assessment by 170,000-ish.
Right.
I'm not okay with that, but
It's not.
I'm just,
I understand
Yeah,
that, but in the, we're kind of in the same thing. What are our choices here?
our choices are what we put in the budget. I mean, we can put whatever number we want in the budget. State law gives us that right, right? And then they can get on town meeting floor and they can amend it. If they don't, if Acton passes their override, then they can get on town meeting floor and move it up to whatever number they want. And if it passes on town meeting floor, great. And if it doesn't, then it goes to what we put in the budget.
So in the spirit of that, shouldn't we be back calculating this to the number that we would feel is the best? And I don't want to put you guys on the spot, but, you know, they're going to say to us eventually, you know, well, what number are you comfortable with? Can't we just circumvent this whole process and say, we would be amenable to a 10%?
I would be amenable to taking 500,000 out of our assessment, which is a 12%, I think I heard.
So that would result to a 12% increase.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
I'd be good with that, but I'm yet one person.
So I just want to make sure we're speaking the same language. Becky, the numbers that, instead of 15.9, you'd be comfortable with that number being 12%. Is that correct?
Can we take a look at the financial model, put in 12% and look and see where that puts our levy?
Because proceeding forward with our financial hats on, this is the way we would do it. We would present that to them and say, look, this is, we got to take into account the people of Boxborough, not only this year, but next year.
Yeah.
And then I also want to see what that means for
You said 12%.
12%.
12%.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Oh, you need to get a microphone, sorry. We don't want you to get yelled at. We don't want Kirby to yell at you.
We want Kirby to be happy.
Everybody has to do it at our meetings too.
Yeah.
Again, Liz spoke with the school committee.
Yeah.
I'm still a relatively young member to the school committee, not that I'm that young, but, so just for clarification on like the way that the process works, because I know that in the past, there have been people, you know, on town floor that want to raise the amount that Boxborough is doing because we're sticking to like the low amount for Acton, and we weren't able to raise it like on town floor. So I guess here's my question, like in theory, whatever the assessment is, you know, let's say that it's the 14% that we're going to discuss on Thursday, and then you guys only put 10% in the budget. What would happen then? You just don't pay the school, or?
No, so what would happen is, and I'm not sure, I don't think I've been on town floor when we tried to raise it, and we've been told you can't do it. May not get voted, which is different than
Right.
being told you can't do it. What we would do is, so let's, for the sake of argument, we say, okay, you say 14%, we say 12%, we're gonna put 12% in the budget,
Yep.
okay? The assessment then goes in the budget to town meeting is 12%. On town floor, Adam would get up, or
you if
presumably
he's busy or
one
traveling.
Boxborough member would get up, and if you chose to, and the Acton override passed.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, this is a lot of different assumptions. Yeah.
So you're assuming the Acton override is passed, you would get up and say, you would amend the budget to, it would be a dollar amount, but I'm just gonna say the 15.59 to make it
Yeah,
easier,
whatever
okay? And then there'd be discussion, and you know, the moderator would allow discussion on that, and then people would vote on that,
On the amendment.
on the amendment, and then if that passes, then they vote on a new budget with the 15.59. If it doesn't pass, and it stays at the 12%, the process is, it goes back to the school committee, because there's now two towns with two different budget amounts, right, assessment amounts. They need to come up with a compromise, go back out to the two towns, to a town meeting separately. And then the towns would vote on that, hopefully this compromise budget. And then if there's not agreement at that point, it would be a joint meeting between Acton and Boxborough.
And
Joint
we
town
would put
meeting.
an asterisk in, like, there would be an asterisk in the warrant
Yeah, I've
on that.
seen those before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like when I sat on the select board and Kristen was on the FinCom, like, we would.
tortured you.
Yes, we would want things, and they wouldn't put it in the budget, so we'd have to have a little asterisk and say, the select board will be, amending
Right, so
this
there'd be a
article.
note in.
So
in
people would
the budget.
expect it and know it. But by the same token, we're gonna put this in, and it's gonna go to print before Acton's override vote,
Right,
right?
so we have to have the two budgets anyway,
Well,
because the
so,
B
but I mean,
budget is.
if Acton
the bare
fails their
minimum.
override vote, we still got the higher number in. We're not gonna vote the higher, we would probably then move
To adjust it down.
Well, yeah,
Low
so-
down.
So we could put the higher number in now, and if we decide to later on bring it down if Acton's override fails.
Right, but, well, we could, we have to take a vote on that, because I
Yeah.
am not supporting 15.59%. There's nothing that I've heard over the course of any of our meetings, including Budget Saturday, that has given me any comfort in structural changes being done, and being able to say to the taxpayers, who I've talked to, a few taxpayers who have said, this is a lot, and, you know, whatever age, whatever group,
So
can't afford to live in town.
I hear you, but what about the counter that is, this isn't a level services budget, right?
Hasn't been a level services budget for the last 3 years when
No,
Acton's
no,
been
no,
doing it.
I'm not talking about the last 3 years, I'm talking about this year.
Okay,
And there's been cuts made to the budget.
yep,
So you're okay with the FTEs being reduced at the
I
high school?
am. So here's the thing.
Is it that you do not believe that that's actually going to happen?
I believe that the bottom line budget's gonna be $115 million. Is that the number if they get, $115 million
Yeah, that's the-
if they get the full book of vote, right?
Yeah, hey,
They can do whatever they want with that money. They can do the cuts, not do the cuts. The votes are over, right?
Okay.
The election ballot votes are over. I've seen that happen. I've sat on the committees when it's happened.
so let me ask you, I'm new to this.
Yep.
Do you have experience with that actually happening in the school systems?
I've seen that happen.
I've
Becky,
seen
you-
it happen too. When I first got on the school committee, like 25 years ago, Acton had literally just failed an override. And my kids were Blanchards, 2 of my kids were Blanchards, so it didn't affect them because we were not regionalized yet K-12.
Mhm.
But my oldest was at RJ Gray. The sky didn't fall, right? I mean, and it was a pretty significant override. And we went back the next, or 2 years later, and they sold it, and Boxborough sold it too, and we all came together. But the problem is, this has just been so last minute. It's not, I mean, an override takes some education
Well, for Acton, you mean for Acton?
for anybody, whether it's
Well-
us having one next year, or 2 years from now, or 3 years from now, or Acton having one. It takes a lot of education.
Yeah, and we don't have a history. We've passed one override, ever. And that took, I was the vice chair of that
We
committee.
did it for a
So,
year.
so,
It was
so
a
the
year.
14.37%, which is
Yeah.
what the school board are going to be discussing, I think, on Thursday, is a 6% increase in our overall tax rate. I don't think that's an unreasonable number to actually put before the taxpayers in a town meeting, given where we are.
So I'm sorry, I'm missing something.
So 14
Saturday, did the school committee say they were going to
yeah,
present?
they're discussing a $1 million cut.
An
from
A-
the-
budget,
And
basically.
It's like
does
yeah.
that bring us down to 14.37?
Yes.
Yes, 14.3, yeah, that's the number I think they said they're going to discuss, right?
Yes.
So,
Okay.
So which is a 6% increase on our taxes in Boxborough, which I don't think 6% in this world is actually at all unreasonable to ask people for.
so I want to see what that looks like with our levy, where that puts our levy. Because so a 14% tax increase, and I used my house value because I'm not somebody that's going to go look at everyone else's house value.
Okay, so here's the,
My house value is $982. And so, to me, that's a $1,000 tax increase to people
Without an override vote.
without an override vote.
yeah,
So-
but the tax is going to go up anyway this year for other reasons.
But
Even if you do 10%,
that's-
if you do 10%, it's going to go up. It's going to go up, some amount as well. So I mean, it's
I also,
it's
you know,
a
I'm
few
also.
hundred, it's a few $100 difference from where you were.
I understand, but it's a matter of it's not just this year. Our TA said 10%, probably, okay, we're all understanding 10% isn't realistic. He's worried about out years, and he's worried about the town side, because that's his job, and that's what he should be. I mean, he's worried about the town in general, but he's worried about the town budget. So the TA says 10%. We're looking at a levy that we're going to lose a substantial amount of our excess levy, and we need to keep a certain cushion, because again, all of these numbers, budget numbers are hard. The revenue numbers are all estimates. New growth is an estimate, right? So we can't go so tight that we end up having to cut stuff.
No, but we have reserves as well. That's what
But we have-
reserves are for, actually.
Yes, but then what do we do next year? If we're using all our reserves to cover this year.
We're back to looking at the graph that says that the lines are coming together anyway, regardless.
Can we bring that up again? Can you bring us,
But before you do, can I just ask one quick question?
Yes,
That's a
just
6%.
speak closer to the microphone.
That's a 6% increase on our taxes only due to the school part.
No.
Overall.
overall tax increase?
Overall, George.
All right.
And again, that's an estimate for anyone who's listening. Please don't write down 6% and you get a 7% bill. Everything is an estimate until October.
And it's based on my maths.
Oh my God. So, so can you just take me through,
So look, here's levy capacity, here's the chart of levy capacity. So this is all these numbers here are from the DOR, apart from the last year, which is based on our estimates for now. So what's happening is the maximum levy is going up 28% overall in that 5-year period.
so is that's driven by assessment values, is that correct?
So the levy ceiling is driven by assessment value. So
Okay, I'm sorry, you're right.
levy ceiling has gone up 48% since in those 5 years. So everyone's house is now worth a lot more money than
Yep.
it was. The levy's gone up 28%, sorry, 41%, and the maximum levy's gone up 28%. So the numbers are coming together basically. You know, sooner or later, so what you lose here is your levy capacity, which is the last column here, which is shrinking year by year. There's been a little bit of up and down in that, but it's shrinking year by year.
So you have in here, so I understand, that brings us to the 886, this is the 15.59%.
Exactly, yeah.
I
It
need-
shows about $900,000 in levy ceiling, levy limit.
If we do the
15.59,
15.59, yeah.
Okay, so that gives you some, Maria, to your comment, it's not at the zero, not at the
Yeah.
top.
Yeah, and it's an
Not a
estimate.
lot, obviously.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
estimate.
it cuts our capacity in half, by more than half.
More than
Sure,
half.
yeah. But again, we do have
Yeah,
we
fair.
do have reserves, you know.
But even our reserves, in order to be able to do this, we are taking from stabilization, which we haven't done in how many years it's been since we've used
6
stabilization?
or 7 now.
At least. We're taking free cash right down to 5%,
Right.
right?
Which we did last year as well.
Which we did we did, but we had excess free cash last year. And we also had excess levy, and we didn't know we'd be in this position because there wasn't any projections for 3 years from the
Yeah.
region, so we didn't know where we were.
Yeah.
Right?
But-
So that, again, so we're gonna be at, so let's call it 900,000.
Yeah. But this is the world we're in, regardless of the school situation. This is the world we're in.
But we're,
Yes,
Right.
it's getting there slightly faster depending on where the budget is. But actually, whether it's 15.59 or 14.37 or 11%,
12%.
it won't make a lot of difference to that actually.
well, it's a half a
Can you put
million
it, can you somehow
difference.
put that in the, so we can see what the capacity would be if we took $500,000 out of our,
So if we took a half a
Assessment?
million out of our assessment,
where would we be?
How would we do that? Oh, out of the
Because
assessment.
that's what I'm thinking,
Out of the
we should put
assessment.
in the budget.
which is 12%.
Out of the assessment.
I don't know, can you do
I
that?
don't know if I can model that on the fly.
Okay, I mean, if you can't, that's okay, I just
Yeah.
figured you have all these things like figured out, so
Yeah.
they're so fancy.
I need you to share it.
Oh,
we
sorry.
can see it.
So, I mean, I don't know. What are you asking for, actually?
Well, I was asking what kind of levy capacity we have, would
So
have.
if you went with, the 12% is what we came up with,
Okay,
would
so
be a
that's-
half a
No,
million.
if you take the school number,
Right.
dollar amount, and subtract 500,000 from it.
Right, which is 12%.
But we're not
Okay.
using cents, you're using dollars.
I understand, but the way to do it on the model
You want
is
our
have to
share
put-
to come down by 500,000.
Yeah, well,
Yes, our
Yeah.
share comes down by
Yes.
500,000, it leaves us with a 12% increase.
So it's got to be 15,400 and
15
something.
million,
Yeah,
15,000 would be lovely.
15 million. Yeah.
Yeah, so hold on a second, so what did we, hold on, I can, yeah, that's about right,
Yeah.
because it's 16 million.
12%.
Yeah, so
So
12%.
that gives you a levy capacity, not much different actually. 27,411.
27,411, right?
Yeah, for the levy, against a maximum levy of 28,664.
Well, it gives us, I mean, we then have $1.2 million
Yeah.
Right, so
in
that is
excess levy.
different. That's $400,000.
300,000, but.
Yeah,
close enough.
300,000.
I'm sorry, who's
Yeah.
counting?
But 12% is a tough number, I think.
Well, it depends on,
Whose
yeah,
perspective?
but 15.59% is a tough number. So, and we've asked for compromise, and we've been asking for compromise. I don't know how many times
Well-
Kristen's used that word.
I think the compromise is probably the 14.37 that the school budget are going to be discussing on Thursday.
No, because Adam
Yeah.
said $1.3 million the other day, and then it went down, somehow Saturday, it started at $1.3 million, and then it was down to $1 million. So like, it's like they were negotiating amongst themselves, and they never came back to us. If they come back and said, we'll cut $1.3 million, who knows, maybe I would have said, no, that's okay. But $1 million's $170,000, it's not enough.
Yeah, I don't know where that's compromise. We started at 10.
I thought the A budget was a compromise,
Hey, we
actually.
started at 5.5,
I
as
mean,
I
bear in
recall.
mind, the A budget
Discussing.
is a cutback from level services. It's losing people and it's losing numbers from level services. So you start to cut even further than that, and you're into deep cuts. And I think, I don't think you can assume that the town are going to want to do that.
Well, then they can argue on town meeting floor for it. And I
I
mean,
think
I'm sure
that's the
that
problem.
they'll have
People
they'll have
don't
the
have a
parents
vote.
there.
They have a vote. They have a vote on town meeting. So you go in with a number, I would say go in with the 15.59 and go with a number, and, people can always vote it down.
Okay. So are we all sort of where we're going to be?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to keep going in circles. I mean, I know where I'm going to be, and Kristen, do you have anything you want to say from the select board?
You planning on voting? I'm sorry, Chris, one second. Are you planning on voting right now?
I want more comment, but I want to go out to comment for the public too. And then we can close out our comments and then vote. Yes? Does that work?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so a ton has been going through my head. Oh, is the mic on? Sorry. Oh, thank you. I'm on?
Gotta leave the mic on.
I think it's on now.
Thank you.
And Kirby, you never yell at us. We just want to keep you happy.
Keep us legal.
That's
Thank
right.
you, sir.
All right, so tons of things have been going through my head. I certainly don't want to see teachers losing their jobs. Part of compromise is also figuring out a way so that, I don't know what to call it, the average taxpayer, someone who doesn't have children in the school, can afford to stay in town, and that people who do have children in the school are getting their kids' needs met. And so I started thinking about my kids, and the fact that there's not a lot of institutional knowledge at the administration, on the school committee, even on a lot of our boards and commissions. So we started thinking about it. I'm like, okay, Nick was class of 2010. He had 27 kids in his 5th grade class. At that time, there were tons of volunteers. We fundraised like crazy for assistance, and a lot of those things were taken away. AB staff, nobody has come to me to ask for money for AB staff for years, student activity funds. So I guess what I'm thinking about is, okay, what kind of changes do we make to keep the people? Because the people, to me, are what's really important. I don't know what's happening with changing to Revolution. Are we changing all of our colors? Are we changing all of that? Maybe we have to put a pin in that. I know it's important, but we have to put a pin in that transition.
I think that's costing us a whole lot of money, right?
Oh, well, I
We have
didn't
a
know.
lot of budget,
I have no idea. I kind of stopped following that one. I'm like, okay, it is what it
Because
is.
you're saying exactly what one of the select board members from Acton said the other day, like, she works in one of the schools, and it used to be that the PTFs fundraised for
In return,
assistance.
Yeah.
Assistance, but even like in Boxborough, we didn't, but
Yeah.
we fundraised for other things.
Yeah.
That,
Right.
to help in classrooms and that kind
Well,
of
there was
stuff.
also, my daughter was talking about, there was, I want to say it was a literacy something that my grandson who hates to read actually wanted to stay after school and do, and it was $15, and she even brought it up. She's like, if there was a line for a voluntary contribution for another student, I would have given another $15, So again, getting creative, and I know a lot of the things changed when we went to the region. No, we don't want the elementary schools, who's going to raise the most money and who has assistants and who doesn't. I understand all of that, but it's like, okay, how do we, do we raise the kindergarten half-day fee a little bit more? Which again, it's going to affect my family, and it's like, oh, but it's still a heck of a lot cheaper than daycare. You've got access to the after-school programs. But again, looking at all these little dribs and drabs, 10 grand here, 20 grand there, whatever. But how do we kind of bridge that gap? I still feel strongly that there needs to be that compromise to make it affordable for everybody. I'm very, very cost sensitive to all of that. And then I'm also thinking about those who can contribute should be given opportunities to contribute. Because if you're not in the school system, you don't know that you can contribute. So. Those are the things running through my head right now. So,
Does anyone else have a comment they want to make? Public? Just got to go to the microphone. Before you do, just because there's a lot of people on this meeting, I generally limit comments to 2 minutes. Yeah, no, you didn't. And I'm not going to time you, just try to kind of keep it if you can, that's all.
And if you can introduce yourself.
Yes, and please introduce yourself.
I have my notebook, but it's not all full of things I'm going to say. Right
Okay.
now. Just because I am a teacher and I carry a notebook everywhere with me.
It's all good.
My name is Rebecca Piersma. I am a Boxborough resident. I'm a teacher in the district, and I have 3 children at 3 different schools in the district. And so I thought, after watching a recording of your meeting with the superintendent, that the only thing I could really offer in addition to your conversation is just the perspective that seemed to be missing on what's actually happening in our schools right now. And I have a lot of feelers in a lot of different schools. Because I feel like we can all reflect on when we were in school, or like some people saying when their kids were in school, but I can't begin to express the amount that has changed since we were all in school. And for myself, I've been a special educator in the district in our early childhood program for 12 years, and that's a relatively short period of time. But the amount that has changed in our student population that is showing up in our district is massive. And what it looks like now, especially since COVID, are kids coming to school way less prepared than they were even 5 years ago. They have lower play skills, social skills, communication skills. Many of them do not have the self-help skills that they used to have. Most of them are not toilet trained, and they used to be. They have lower gross motor skills because a lot of our kids are not outside playing the way that they used to be. Their attention spans are shorter. Like, I could go on, but in order, and I'm not just speaking about special education students, we're an integrated program. In order to rectify those needs, it takes a lot of human bodies. And I feel like the conversation that I'm hearing about, 12%, 14%, let's try to cut $500, like, it just all doesn't seem to be taking into account the fact that those are jobs that are taking away from outcomes, very real outcomes for these students. And I'm not just speaking as a teacher trying to keep my job. I don't think in any of these budgets my job is on the line. But I know the outcomes for my students are very much on the line, because our early childhood program is not on the chopping block, but my students move on to kindergarten and elementary school. And those programs are all on the line, and the student needs do not get less, even as, they move up. They actually get more because the academic demands become so much more. So that's speaking to my job as an educator. I feel like I also have the perspective as a parent of 3 kids in in the different schools in the district. So my oldest is at the high school, and I couldn't be more thrilled with the experience that she has had in this district. She has become a really, really critical thinker, engaged learner. But one of the biggest things that she's been taught is how to get help when she needs it. And she's learned that because teachers have made themselves available to her throughout her entire school career. So now, even as an A student in honors classes, she'll say to me, I'm going to stay after to talk to my science teacher, or I'm going to go get some math extra help, because that's the impact that these numbers and these jobs have on the children of our towns. My student who's in middle school, she her math teacher just recommended that she do like a 6-week intensive program to increase her math fluency skills because she noticed a gap. And the gaps in her learning correlate to her COVID years. So she did a 6-week program with a specialist, and because of that, her fluency skills are way higher, and that's going to have a lasting impact for her, but also for the district, because she's not going to need other more costly intervention down the road. On the other hand, I have a son in the elementary schools, and he also has a few gaps in his learning that correlate exactly with the COVID years. And if I knew that he were going to be provided with the specialized support that he needs in the classroom in the gen ed setting, so what we call those tier 2 supports, then my husband and I wouldn't be considering whether or not he should have a special ed evaluation, also at a cost to the town. And that's our story, but I can tell you that that's a story that I hear over and over again. When you take these supports out of the classroom, when you take these people out of the classroom, then more people are going to be looking to special education at a much greater cost to the district. So I would just encourage you, as you're thinking about numbers, to talk to people who are actually in the schools with kids, whether it's parents or educators, because I feel like this district's been doing an amazing job at a lower than average cost per student, which I think really needs to be highlighted. Like, there's no reason we should be able to do it for cheaper than other school districts can do it. And I'm really proud to be part of this district. I feel like we've worked hard to keep up with all the changing needs of our students. And as a Boxborough resident, and as not one of our wealthiest residents, I'm more than willing to pay the increased taxes to fully fund our schools. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. George, your hand's still up. Is that from before? Okay, because then I'm going to let Molly Wong speak.
Thank you.
Hi, Molly. I'm going to just ask for you to speak close to your computer because our sound on the Zoom isn't great.
Sure. Is this loud enough? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. And I wanted to reiterate, my name is Molly Wong. I'm a longtime resident. I'm graduated from Acton Boxborough, have 2 kids who have gone through the system, and 1 left in junior high, and I also work at the junior high. I'm always very appreciative of the time and effort that people spend on these committees, having served on some myself. And I've been on the committees, I've helped with the regionalization effort. I'm a little bit discouraged by some of the tone. I've heard both, and I agree both with some of the meetings happening earlier about Boxborough's participation, but also about there seems to be just a feeling of a dismissiveness of the impact that these changes will have in the school district now. And it feels like so many things from the past are trying to be relitigated in making this one stand and one decision about the current year's budget. I think I just keep hearing again and again, let's look back, let's look back, let's look back. And I would encourage us to stop looking back. The institutional memory is important, but I'm concerned that it is clouding our vision for where we need to go and moving forward. I don't know, I have to say I've been troubled. There are a lot of things that were school committee decisions, such as removing assistants from classrooms. And I'm not saying I agree with every decision that the school committee has made, but those decisions and the financial impacts that they had happened at those committee meetings. And the policy and the process to change that is involved, I don't think it should be playing tic-tac-toe with the budget. I think it should be working hard to elect school committee members that we think will be able to move those issues in that direction. I would really encourage us to look at putting a higher number, whether it's the 14% with the $1 million reduction, or but a number that represents the work that went into producing the budget. I completely agree that we have longer term, bigger issues that need to be looked at to stabilize the budget and moving forward. But I don't agree in putting a lower number right now is going to actually work. I think it even says like we're gonna flex our muscle by saying no in order to get our way. And I don't know. I keep hearing people saying, well, the people that I've spoken to, well, I guess other people need to speak up as well, because I think there are a lot of people who don't agree with that. But thank you. I know that the hours that you guys put in are insane, but I hope that you will consider putting in a higher number to vote on. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Molly. Okay, hold on a second. Kristen O'Neill.
Hi, good evening, and thank you all for engaging in this really important conversation. It's a difficult one. I know it is. I couldn't have said it better than the first 2 speakers here in public comment. I have 2 kids at Blanchard Elementary. We've been in town for 10 years. We're also not the wealthiest people in town, but I will happily pay for our kids' education. And when I say our kids, I don't mean just my kids. I mean all the kids in this district. I'm heavily involved in the elementary school community here, and next year I'll be involved at the junior high level as well. What I see in our educators, our administrators, and our students is increased need. It's morale has just gone down continuously since COVID, and we're continuously asking our teachers and our district to do more with less. And I've seen the toll that that takes on our educators that we should be incentivizing to stay here. We are so proud of our educational system in this district, and I'm concerned that the gamble that the roof won't cave in on us if this doesn't pass at this level. I am very concerned of where that will leave our students. And I understand that there are a variety of residents with a variety of needs, and you're doing your due diligence in exploring how this impacts everyone here in town. But I wanted to stand up and be another voice saying, this is important. This is a constituent telling you that this is very, very important. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Liz?
Liz Folks, Boxborough resident on 155 Stowe Road. Speaking sort of as a parent and taxpayer of the town, I do implore our finance committee to wait until the school committee has voted what the A budget is actually going to look like, and I really would hope that you would consider any compromises that the school committee is able to offer, to Boxborough and put in the higher number. I, for one, would certainly be amenable to that, even understanding that it's going to be really difficult for a lot of our residents. We may not even get to that higher number because Acton, kind of holds the cards on this one. If they pass the override, it could be one number, but if they don't pass the override, we are at the lower number regardless. Just like if Boxborough goes to an override next year, Acton will be beholden to us in the similar way, where if the override doesn't pass with us, it will impact the flexibility on what their assessment or what could contribute to the region's need. And I understand that it will be difficult for many residents in town. I also understand, and granted, I'm still, newer to town, I don't know what they are, but I know that there are resources for people to be able to get assistance with, daily living. I'm not sure if there's resources for taxes. I know you had mentioned that on Saturday.
They take the MMA class too.
The MMA class, yep. So, I know that there are at least some things that could help mitigate or soften the blow a little bit for the taxes, but for this population who doesn't even really get a vote, except some of the seniors that are 18, the students only get whatever money we allocate to the school system. So I just want to keep that in mind as well.
Okay, wait. Go back as school committee member, put your school committee hat on.
All right, school committee hat.
So you just said, so next year if Boxborough fails an override.
Sorry, that's me.
No, if it goes to an override,
Yep.
then it would be a similar situation where the school committee would have one budget if the override passes and another
Would
budget
it?
if the override
Would it though?
wouldn't
Because
pass.
that's not the way it's worked in the past for overrides. So,
I only know what we are doing now, and so based on, that's exactly what's happening right now,
So
is we have
if-
two budgets.
so I want to understand, so if we were to go to an override next year and we had a budget A for the town, which included we can only afford 6.5% assessment. But, you guys are looking for us, because based on, 6.5% is going to be low for next year, realistically. But that's our budget. If our override fails, we can only afford 6.5%. Is the region then going to say, okay, we're going to base this budget on Boxborough being able to only pay 6.5%? Because that is not, and I'm not saying that, that's not the way it's always been. If I had some assurance that if a failed override affected the region and not just our town employees, I might be more willing to look at something that put us in a little bit more of a difficult position. Does that make sense? Am I making sense?
It makes sense to me, but I
Can you
Does
give
it-
me an example
So-
of the evidence you have to the contrary? Because as far as I've been on
So
school
pretty much
committee.
in the past, with the region, when we've had our override,
What year?
this was when I was running the override, the only override we've had. So you have to understand, well, that's not true. We had two failed ones and then the one that passed.
So we didn't even have an override after, everything from COVID.
I understand, but what I'm asking you, because it's the same thing, if we were to do an override next year, that would be a change, right? Because normally, in the past, when we've had an override, it's been, if the override fails, we have to pay the school. The school has been held harmless at every single budget, whether there's an override or not. We've never said to the school, whether there's an override or not, the town is hurting and we need to cut budget, so we're gonna cut $50,000 from our assessment and have the school say, okay, that makes sense. We've always held the region harmless. And that's what you have to understand. That's generally the way it works. So if we have an override next year and it fails, we would normally hold the region harmless. You would get your assessment, and then everything we have to make up on our budget would need to be made up on the town side. That's the concern that we have, because this is the one and only time we've ever pushed back on an assessment as a town. We've never, ever had these conversations with Acton before. So we normally take your assessment and build our budget around it. What I'm saying is, kind of what you just said is, well, we'd have two budgets. Is that what would happen? Because that's really important to understand as we're trying to make financial decisions this year that affect every out year after this.
Which is understandable. And the one word that I would challenge that you used a lot there is normally. This isn't normal. It doesn't seem to be normal. I have lived here for 7 years. It's the first time I've really seen Acton go into an override as well. It's all kind of new. And in my experience, since I've been on school committee, it has always been Acton is up against their levy limit. They have said, we can't go for an override this year. Here's your ceiling. And that's why we've been sort of amending to that.
So I guess that's what I would need to
So that
understand
would
from the
be-
committee. I think we would need to understand that the committee would then say to the town of Boxborough next year the same thing. Then I would be a lot more comfortable at 15.56%, because we've never had that. We've always held the region harmless. So whatever the assessment is, it is. Whatever our levy limit is, it is. We've had to deal with it on the town side. If that's a new stance, and that's a new way of dealing with the towns, I mean, I think I'm a little bit more, I think I would be willing to look at it a little differently.
I mean, and I could certainly say yes, but I think actions speak louder than words, and that's literally what we're doing this year. You have a committee that has already voted, and we said, this makes sense. One town has to go to an override, the other one wouldn't have to go to an override, so we have to be prepared for both scenarios. I know that this is something that, Peter was the one that came to us and recommended it. We said, absolutely, it makes perfect sense. You do have a young committee. I don't want to make us seem naive, but, we want to work with the towns. We want to have this be a community. I was at the library for a whole hour today just to be available if anybody even wanted to come and talk to us. So we really are trying, and I would hope that you would give us the benefit of the doubt and allow us to prove that to you for next year, rather than having to make such deep cuts this year.
So Liz, let me ask you, if the override fails in Acton, and Boxborough's budget is in a 12 or 14 or 15%, whatever we put it in, and that's what we vote on town floor, are you then going to go back to Acton and say, well, now Boxborough voted more, so we need more for your assessment, so you're going to have to cut on the town side?
It's my understanding that that's not the plan, and I don't know that we can do that. If their override fails and we're only able to go up to, that's what the B budget is.
Well,
that's
but
the maximum we can do without an
the
override.
firefighters, the police officers, and everything else in Acton. The town side could cut to give money to the region. I just want to make sure we're not going to be put in that position next year if we look at increase. I mean, I still think that at 15.59 or 14%, that's a big number, and that's like an override number, because that basically Acton's looking at a $1,300 override budget increase, right, or tax increase. And I guess my feeling is if we put it at a lower number, and you guys, we put an asterisk in the budget, and you guys bring in a higher number, then at least people get to vote it, right? That's my thing. Instead of, it's our budget, it's the FinCom's budget, they get to put it in the in the warrant. And I think if the school committee wants it, they should explain to everybody. It shouldn't just be this is what's in the budget this year, because you've sat through town meeting, you've seen how fast Article 5 goes. If anything gets pulled, it's usually like the field driver for $45. It's not usually the regional assessment for, this is true, for $16 million, right? So it's just, I guess I'm concerned, because I just do think people need to have a voice in this, and I don't think it should just be up to us to put some number in. I think we need to really think about everybody in town. So that's my reason for wanting to put a lower number in.
Okay. Is this something that you're planning to vote tonight? Like, will I need to get the presentations and everything prepared so that we
I don't.
can try and get what's fair?
I think that's what I was
yeah.
gonna kind of come back to the
Yeah.
committee after we heard public comment.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what, so, doesn't look like George, your hand's still up. Is it just still up? Or do you have something that you want to interject? I can't hear you. You're muted. Hold on. Can we make George a co-host? Okay, there you go.
Okay, George.
That's all I wanted.
Okay, all right, so
just
don't
wanted to be
mute yourself
unmuted.
again, and you're good. Okay, so there's no more public comment. So let's come back to this group here. We said that we were going to vote tonight. We have it on our agenda for a vote.
But did I hear that there's a potential of the school committee changing
So
on Thursday?
So I looked at their agenda tonight. They are voting a preliminary budget Thursday night. They
Right.
may, the last we heard, they may go back and look at, and Liz said today that the budget subcommittee was going to look at, maybe reducing it by, I hope more than $1 million, but, some amount.
So I know Thursday's vote is going to be the maximum. After
Yep.
that, it can only
Can
go
only
down,
come
it can't
down.
go up.
So I would suggest we hold off the vote until we've heard what the school committee vote is. Because I think, they're the ones who are having that negotiation, as it were, with the school about the number. I think we should support them in that, whatever that number is, when it comes through.
Okay, I'm willing to put off the vote tonight. I'm not willing to say I'm going to support them, whatever it
Okay.
is, when it comes through.
I think we should support them with that number, but we also have to
Well,
vote.
we-
on it.
That's
we can
fine,
have-
you can think that.
You know what, we'll know what the number is, and if we're gonna put an asterisk in the warrant, we'll know what their number is and what our number is, and at least we'll know that going in, as opposed to if we
Well,
just, if we stick a pin in it tonight, right, at 12%, we don't know what they're gonna come back with, right? So maybe they come back with like, okay, Boxborough, if you can, do 13%, we're gonna put that in the, that's gonna be us.
Well, we're going to see what they say on Thursday night, and then we're going to decide what we want to, as a FinCom, will vote for to put in the warrant.
Here's the thing, we're voting this next Tuesday, because we cannot
Keep kicking the
really,
can
we
down
can't
the
keep kicking it down the road, because we're running out of time. Your chairs are going into a little bit of a panic and having some anxiety about getting everything voted, all our recommendations done, because we're coming to our deadline, which is the end of February. So we have all the budgets we have to vote, and we can vote a couple tonight. We have all the warrants we have to vote, and we have to do that all in context. And we have to understand what we are looking at first for a budget, for whatever number we put in, whatever assessment, the assessment they give us, whatever assessment. Does that make sense? We're voting it next week.
Yep.
From hell or high water, this is happening.
That's fine.
And I don't want to go back down a huge, long conversation about it next. I mean, we'll have some discussion based on what they come back with. But we've spent almost an hour and a half, almost 2 hours on this.
Well, no, it's an important topic. We need to.
It is, and we're going to have some conversation. I just don't want to spend 2 hours on it next week.
Yeah.
I'm
George,
not
is
even sure
that?
you need conversation, you might just do a vote.
I just want to say how strongly I feel that Becky's spot on, that we really need to make the town take a real hard look at this and let the voters decide some of this. It's not that, I really take exception to Tony's words that we might not be supporting the school committee by not agreeing with them. That's quite a difference. I think supporting the school committee is certainly, part of what all the citizens really do in the town, but that doesn't necessarily mean you agree with every nickel and dime or millions of dollars here and there. I'm very, very much in favor of what Becky has to say, and I'd like to see something just a little bit lower thrown, as a recommendation from the, from us, and let the conversation start at the town meeting floor for, whatever extra is needed.
I think it's actually really healthy when you don't have everybody in lockstep in every committee in the town. I mean, like, we have way more on consent in the warrant than I think, sometimes I just vote no, so people can actually talk about something, right? Because if one person votes no between the select board
Sometimes I
and the
just vote no to be
FinCom,
contrary.
basically,
all the time
sometimes
at town
I do
meeting.
vote no just to be
So
contrary.
can I just, so we know that Tony wants full vote, 15.596, I don't know, that number
He wants
keeps changing.
20%. Like
Whatever, no, no, no.
wants 20,
Tony wants,
he wants
Tony wants the A budget. I'm
that's a
gonna be
negative
honest,
comment.
and I, I'm gonna be honest, I really am uncomfortable with the full vote. And I don't think $1 million does it either. So I would be, I would hope that we could go further than $1 million. We don't necessarily need to go down to 10%, but I would hope we go further than $1 million. And I've heard everything that everyone has said. But as I've said before, when you sit on the finance committee, it is not just about one budget. It is about the town as a whole and the health, the financial health of our town. And I just don't think that anything much more than 12 to 12.5% is going to give us the financial health we need, even with an override, even in the next few years. We've spent a lot of years being very conservative. And I can't say that for our partner town when it comes to the schools. We are very conservative in how we budget. It has taken us years to get to the point where we have 8 firefighters. And by years, I'm talking about 4-5 years to get to 8 firefighters. Everything we do, we think about. We cut $500 here and $1,000 there. So for me, much more than 12.5% is going to be really tough for me to go forward with. So that's just, feedback. That doesn't mean I'm one vote, but I think that's important. Does anyone else have direct feedback they want to give back to Liz so that she can bring it to the table? No?
She heard mine, so she
Okay.
knows where I am.
Okay, and you heard George. So, all right, so I guess we'll be watching your meeting on Thursday night, and we are taking a vote next Thursday,
And I'll
or
be
next
there.
Tuesday. Here.
I will be there.
You will or won't?
I will.
You will, okay. And then Gary can also
I'll
express.
give my typical weekly change of guidelines, please.
Okay.
Just let Gary talk in the beginning, okay? Just let him talk.
He wants to talk in between. Okay. I appreciate everyone who's made comments tonight. I appreciate the work the school committee's done. Liz, the other day, you, Lakshmi, stellar, trying to convince people compromise was important. And so, we'll see where we get to on Thursday night. We'll hold off on this vote for another week. Okay?
Okay.
All right, we're gonna move on to, at least we have to get a couple of things done tonight, because I have to vote a budget or something. I'm a little stressed.
What do we know what we need to vote?
Okay, let's see, where are we here? We're taking that off. Dave, did you want to say anything? You came in?
No, I just,
Oh, you were at AgCom and you were.
Are they done?
Are they done, yeah?
Oh, good, okay. All right,
I thought you were just getting out late because you were trying to get away from Mary or
All right.
something, so you came over here.
Well, like, I don't want to go home, is that?
okay. All right, so do we want to, it's 9 o'clock. I'm exhausted after these long conversations. Do we want to vote some budgets?
Yes.
Yes.
We do.
Okay.
Excellent.
Do we have a list of which ones we voted? I know Gary does.
Gary does. Gary and I came up today, because I didn't mean to step on him. He's got great notes and stuff, but because I'm so stressed, Gary's added, are you going to add a column
It's
now?
already added.
Okay, great, thank
I
you.
just called it who for now.
We're going to what?
I called it who for now.
Okay, great.
Who?
Who?
Oh,
HW.
Maria wanted to know if we had a mixed vote, who were the people, so they could talk about the
It's just easier when we go to do our recommendations.
right, okay.
versus, majority, minority.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, all right, so I'm
We
going to.
don't usually do recommendations on every single budget, I'm just saying, but
No, but if there's something, so I just need to download.
Especially if we get
I did
asked
not
at town meeting
download this
floor for
budget.
something.
Yeah, who vote, yeah. But I mean, again, we don't usually
No.
put our actual votes for every single.
Like, for example, Finance Committee, we have it 601. Who was the one? It was me.
Who was the
'cause
one?
I'm
So I've been-
abstaining,
Right, so I was keeping track of that. Okay.
because I might be the secretary,
Oh, right, okay, got it,
All
okay.
right, Gary.
so.
let's
You
go.
want to start right down the line?
Are you going to share this so I
Yeah,
can see it?
yeah. Not
Yes, oh, I'm not sure.
You're not sharing. I can't see it on my
I'm trying to get
screen.
back to my list of voted budgets. Okay,
So right now, the first one we haven't voted is 123,
okay, hold on, I gotta
Oh,
share.
that's a big one.
executive offices.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can't vote that tonight.
why can't we vote that tonight?
I don't know, can we?
We have all the COLAs
Okay,
now.
that's true, the COLAs are all in, I suppose, yeah,
Everything's in
okay.
there, and if we have to go back, we can. But I really do believe, am I sharing now? Good Lord.
Did you change to 3%?
Yes, this is a budget Mike sent me today. So let me just kind of preface all this, right? Mike sent this today with all the changes from our last meeting. Between our last meeting and this meeting, Ms. Shoba told us that the 2 students we have there are seniors, and they're not, I don't believe they're gonna accept any more kids this year. So we decreased the education budget for the tuition and transportation. We left the other budgets because we still don't know what that is. And
Ms. Joba's not going to accept any new students?
No, they're.
there's no
Okay,
indication
okay.
that anyone's going to accept any of our students on a vocational.
Okay.
I think that is one of those things the select board, I think BLF needs to have that conversation. We have got to find a vocational option for our children in town because they're not being accepted anywhere. And that's going to become a problem. You know, we have kids, 8 kids last year applied, and they didn't even get waitlisted.
Can I just ask a quick question on that? So when somebody from Acton goes to a vocational school, that
Yeah.
comes out of the Acton and only Acton side, correct?
That comes out of the town, Acton
Okay.
town.
That's not in the school.
That's not in the school, right?
So they have about 100 students at a Minuteman,
Yes.
and the town of Acton is paying
Yeah.
that,
And
not the
that's
school.
part of their financial issues this year. Because
But it also reduces their population at the region, so our population's going up anyways.
Right.
But Acton's is going down, and then you take another 100 kids out because they're all at Minuteman. So their population's down by even more than it probably would have been.
I was just making sure it wasn't impacting that spreadsheet, because.
No, it doesn't come out this spreadsheet, and it's expensive, and so
Or
that's
just
part of
to
the
your point,
financial
yeah,
issue.
but it's expensive, so you take those 100
Oh, yeah,
students,
yeah.
how much it is, yeah, that's a lot of money.
What is it, like
That's-
$35,000 a student, right?
And then there's like a capital cost, and
Yep,
it's
okay.
ridiculous, so,
Okay,
okay.
okay, budget 123, Gary. I move total salary, $360,305. Total other, because Maria only wants to really do one vote.
I do.
$75,703, for a total of $436,008.
I'll second that.
Okay, is there any questions or comments on this budget?
Yeah, the conference travel,
Conference travel.
it's up it's $18,000
It
plus.
is.
I was on personnel board before I came here, and I bet you 10 to 1 Mike can talk about this. for
So,
training.
yeah, so if you go down on the spreadsheet, which I just did, and you look at this part right here, there is, there's this training that they want to do for Employee Choice Training Initiative.
Oh, yeah, yep.
And he had talked to that, I
He did.
thought he talked
He
about,
did.
is he still in this meeting?
He is still
Oh,
on
Mike
the
is still
meeting.
on this meeting.
Hi, Mike.
Hi there.
Hi, sorry. Can we make Mike a co-host? He's not going to dive bomb us, or Zoom bomb us, or whatever it's called.
He could.
Okay, Mike, can you, do you want to talk to that a little bit?
I thought he did.
The conference and training.
Sure, yeah, it's exactly what you were starting to say, is that, so the planning board, the personnel board is working with Rajan, and they're coming up with a whole matrix of things. In fact, they met earlier this evening to talk about it again, for becoming what they're determining an employer of choice. And that entails a lot of things, some policy, as well as some training for all employees. Improve retention, improve how we accept employees, and so that number you're asking about is $12,000, and I stuck it in that line. I forget what the line is titled, but that's why that's gone up by $12,000. That's for training across all employees in all departments.
Mike, what happens if we do it over 2 years? Is that possible and cut it back by half? Or is it not that clean?
It could. I'm not sure if there is an intention for there to be training year to year. And this was the first year would be more expensive because we haven't done this at all. And the type of training would include not so much technical training because we have a lot of that already going on. But it would be more general training, like first-time supervisor training, middle management training, new department head training, other soft skills type of training. So there would be some cost year to year. And that was a number that, it wasn't arrived at scientifically. It was a place to start from.
Mike, does that include any DE&I training?
It does.
Great, thank you.
Okay, are we comfortable with that number, Gary?
Not really.
Okay.
It's just, I understand what you're asking for, it's just a lot of money for one, sudden increase.
I think it's a lot of money in a year when we're talking about slashing and burning the school budget.
Slashing and burning, okay.
Well, we are. We're cutting jobs on the...
Can I just, because I've been going to the personnel board meetings, can I just say, this whole employer of choice program that they're really trying to be, because we all know we've had a hard time getting and keeping employees.
That's right.
And we all know we really want a finance director really badly, so we want to be a employer of choice. And this is one of the things they're hoping to do, to be able to make people want to come here to work. As opposed to scaring them away.
Look, I'm generally supportive of these things. I think we should bolster these things. I think they are probably have a benefit in terms of employee retention, hiring, that sort of thing, and quality of work and all those things. But I think we have to be very, very careful if we are in a situation where we, on the one hand, are saying we're really screwing down on the school budget, but we're sort of like letting a few things go through here in the operations budget, which are sort of nice to haves, actually.
Select board chair.
So one of the things that is highest on Mike's goals list is employee retention, education, professionalizing, creating succession. And so this is actually very near and dear to the select board's heart, that we provide this kind of education for our staff. I think that we've found some other efficiencies in other areas. I hear what you're saying, Tony, but it's not that we're arbitrarily raising the education of our employees at the expense of the school. It's that both are important. And we are still supporting an increase in the school budget, so it's not that we're not supporting something. But I would say, we found other efficiencies, we're just moving things over to support our staff and to keep them here and to make them feel valued. And I will tell you that the classes that we're looking at, staff is really excited to take, and so we want to capitalize on that too. So.
And I guess, if we can retain employees, it's a whole lot cheaper to retain an employee than it is to have to keep training new ones.
Yeah. No, look, I understand it all, but I'm just about the optics of the thing.
Yeah.
So I guess the question, again, back to my original question, again, I'm not against it, I'm just asking, is it possible to do it over 2 years? Are we going to spend $12,000, or could we get by with $8,000, $9,000?
That's a Mike question.
I don't know whether it's, I'm trying to figure out the breakdown, how much we really.
I can answer that question.
Okay, go ahead, Mike.
Sure. So that 12,000 represents about $150 to $170 per employee. And, if the number was half of that as a starting point for the first year, that would be better than what we're doing, and it would be a place to start. So it would be about $75 an employee. So yes, that's possible.
So $75 per employee for professional development. Wow. Say that. Is that what that's what we're saying? Per year?
Dirt cheap.
That's correct. Because some of the training that's included in this program that Rajan and the Personnel Board have been working on is at no cost. And that's through MMA, through MMHR, and some of our other professional associations. But then there is some that does come at a cost.
Okay,
and
the 75 is if you tried to do it over 2 years. Is that what I want to understand?
Yeah, so at half of that, we would take up, probably half of the training that we had planned on taking on in the first year. But that would get us started. I mean, it's better than where we are at the year before.
And can I just say, somebody who takes better notes than me, has said it's going to be situational leadership, team building, stress management, focus on management skills, how to deliver performance reviews, and having difficult conversations with employees. So it's probably, it's all good, and if we can do some of it, it's better than doing none of it. So I don't know.
Well, coming from the school setting, the one thing that I learned in budgeting over those years is professional development is really important for our employees, especially in today's world, because there's a lot in there, and we've not provided that across the board for our employees for a long, long time. It's
Ever.
not been, it's not, as far as I know, right, it's not been. So I'm okay with this number because I do know that, we're saving a significant amount of money somewhere else, including Mike taking us to a different insurance, and dispatch is $200,000. Well, it's $400,000 this year, but I look at it as a $200,000 savings because ultimately that's what it will cost us. So I'm okay with this number. We're going to do a roll call vote, and it doesn't need to all. I have a feeling a lot of these votes this year, when I do my town meeting presentation, I'm going to talk about how we were not in lockstep on all of these votes. So
I think that's,
unless there's
again,
any
I
further
think that's good.
discussion, I want to take a roll
Again,
call.
I'm not against it. Obviously, it's very important, obviously important. I'm just asking, can we reduce it a little bit? $100 an employee, $120 an employee. Or are we really going to send all the employees for training right away this year? If the answer is yes, if we're actually going to spend $150 to $175 per employee, and every single employee is going to training, I'll support it. But I've seen training in various companies over the years, and it gets in the budget, and then employees get busy, classes don't come up. I just want to make sure this is real.
Well, they were saying today in personnel is that what they're planning on doing is, how like they'll close town hall when they're having a luncheon or something. They're going to close town hall like at lunchtime and have it be sort of group training for everybody, so they'll do it that way, so that everybody will be in the building. They'll try and get a maximum of efficiency and stuff.
So they're bringing the training in.
Yeah, they're going to, well, not all of it, but I don't know, maybe all of it, I have no idea, but at least some of it's coming in, because it makes it easier to get everybody.
Okay. All right, so what are we going to do here? I'm okay with this amount, but, that's me.
So the other question I have is, I thought we were going to, we still have fall town meeting in here. I thought we were going to separate out ATM and fall.
So.
I'm not trying to understand why we have one but not the other.
Because Mike put that in an email a couple weeks ago. Mike, you want to talk to that?
Yes, so we easily have the cost breakdown for the fall town meeting because we went in and planned it that way. We hadn't planned to break down what the costs were for annual town meeting and put it into separate categories. So right now, the cost of our annual town meeting is spread across advertising, printing, legal. So I can't tell you exactly what the cost for annual town meeting is, where it was easier, where we built up to the amount for fall town meeting. So that's why you see fall town meeting broken out. The other question that was asked at that same meeting is, could we move all the town meeting cost over to the town clerk's office? And while I like the idea of pulling some of the costs out of my budget and sticking it in somebody else's budget, I did have a conversation with Becky, our town clerk, and we both agreed that it's the select board who calls the town meetings, and we're the ones that handle the legal bills, the printing, the advertising, so it makes sense that it's in the budget that we control. So that's why it's remained in budget 123.
All right, so is this something that we could do for next year's budget? We break out ATM, I know.
We could.
Okay, so.
And by that time, I'll have a better opportunity to look at, how does that cost break out? Right now, I just don't know.
Okay.
I mean, wouldn't it be the same cost as a fall town meeting, or is it because fall town meeting is like planned 1 day versus 5 days?
No, there's the breakdown. I don't think it would be the same ratios, because the amount of articles and the amount of legal work that goes into annual town meeting is significantly more than fall town meeting.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
So we'll try to get that done for next year and just do town meetings under one
Yes.
category. That'd be great. Okay, so where are we on this conference? Are we going to go ahead and take a vote and go from there?
Take a vote and.
Okay. All right, it's a roll call vote because George is now on,
Zoom.
so, yeah. George?
You can hear me. Can you hear me, right?
Yep.
Aye. So am I voting now?
Yeah, we're going to vote on this
The
budget.
Yes, so yes.
Okay. Gary?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Tony? Okay. So that's unanimous.
Okay. That's one vote down, one budget down. Only like 500 more to go.
All right, what's next? Gary, I want to know what you've got
Give
next.
me 1 second.
Okay.
I'm just gonna catch up here.
Yeah, all right, I know, I counted. I just wanted to recount.
I saw you, I just.
Did you see me counting? Okay. I
Okay,
think,
next is, so we just did salary and other 123. Next is 135, town accountant.
135, not 132. Did we vote 132?
There is no
No, because it's
132.
Oh, the
reserve fund, it's
reserve
reserve
fund.
fund, we
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
wait till we finish
Right,
the
right, right.
budget.
Okay.
There is a 132?
Yeah,
What-
reserve
reserve
fund,
fund.
but we don't do that till the very
Oh,
last
okay,
because it's
right.
a flexible number.
Okay.
Yes, 135, town
Okay.
accountant.
All right.
135.
So I move total salary for budget 135 of $182,835 and total other at $43,400 for a total in the accountant budget of $226,235.
I'll second that.
Okay, is there any discussion on this budget? And
235 or 255?
230,
235,
yeah.
or 135 is the budget.
what?
No,
No. The bottom line
Bottom
number
line
is
budget.
Oh,
226.
226,235.
Okay.
226.
Yep.
Oh, that was like a 3, okay.
So now, this budget may change a little bit once we hopefully have a finance director, accountant in place. If, depending if that salary is lower, then that number will go down. So there's possibility to decrease this number. Okay, is there any discussion on this? Okay. George?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Becky?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Tony? Okay. Unanimous. All right. What do you got next, Gary?
Probably assessor.
Yep, town assessor, 141.
Okay, budget 141, total salary.
Nope.
Sorry.
Just go slow.
Okay, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, total salary, $121,023. Total other, $46,470, for a total of $167,493.
I'll second that.
Okay. Do we have any questions on this? We talked about the software and the mapping updates, right? We talked about that on Capital Saturday,
Yep.
right? Okay.
Can I just ask, I mean, I should have looked at this before. The assessor certification stipend, is Kelly not got the certification, so we're not putting it in, Mike, do you know? Or is she likely to get it and she's gonna want it?
I don't know. Is Kelly on there? I know she was watching this meeting.
No,
Well, I don't, she's not,
not now.
if she's watching, it must be from the TV, or on the computer, because she's not on our
Yeah.
meeting.
If she and I did review this budget with her, so if it's not in there, it's not likely to happen this year.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. So are there any other questions on this budget? If not, I'll take a vote. George?
Yes.
Gary?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Becky?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Tony?
Aye.
And Maria? Aye. Okay.
Budget 145, Gary.
145, go.
Treasurer collector. Total salary, $109,465. Total other, $46,750, for a total of $156,215.
I'll second that.
Okay. Are there any questions on this budget?
Did we go over the other in meeting? It just seems,
Yeah, the increase?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's on these tax title liens.
Right.
It's 14,000. And that is to give her, so, well, actually, Mike, you want to explain this? Because you might be able to explain it cleaner than me.
Could you repeat the question?
on the tax lien, the increase, the 14,000.
On the budget 145.
Yes.
Row 9.
So the increase on that is because we have been kind of inactive as far as moving forward with these liens. And when we have someone in the position who's going to be more active in that realm.
It's to get money back
So,
to us.
and so ultimately, so John understands, it is taking of delinquent taxes, dealing with delinquent property taxes, taking of the property, and then the town, sells it or whatever, correct? Eventually, that's,
That's correct.
yeah.
So is this is a salary or?
No, it's the expenses around the tax taking.
Legal fees?
Yeah,
Is it legal, Mike, or is it
Like
other
like filing fees or something?
filing fees and stuff?
I think it's mostly involves filing fees and also legal.
So I've got in my model 15,000 as a separate line item in the financial model. So that is double counting, it sounds like.
You have it in your financial model separately?
Yep, because it was in the previous years as a budget item. So we've got tax title in there as one of the expenses.
So I don't have it in as a warrant article.
No, it's not a warrant article, it's something which is one of the things that's in previous models. So I've got tax title, I've got cherry sheet charges, whatever they are, cherry sheet offsets, whatever they are, and the overlay reserve allowance, which I know what that is. And
Oh, so it
you
is.
told me 300,000 for
It's
that.
it's in the model, so do we take it out of the model?
Wait, overlay reserve should be different.
Hold on. No, this
So-
is, go ahead, Mike.
So I don't have that model in front of me,
Don't need to
but I'm not sure if that's, I don't have anything in that model for this year, I don't think. Maybe I'm incorrect.
Yeah, I was just copying from previous years, Mike. We had it in the model last year.
Mike, if you,
I'm fine I think I should just take it out because I think basically it sounds like we're already counting it in the operating budget, so therefore it shouldn't appear again
Right, it should
separately.
not appear separately.
So I just
Yeah,
take it out.
I would take it out of
Yeah.
the operating budget. I mean, out of the
Model.
Out of the model, yeah.
Yep, okay. And there's your $12,000. We found that in the salary line item for the
Training.
For your training. Okay. All right, is there any other questions on this budget? Okay, George,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Becky,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Tony,
Aye.
and Maria, yes. Okay.
Hold on, I gotta change yours to yes. Okay.
Wait, you didn't change that budget.
What?
No. Everyone else said aye. Rita
Yeah.
said yes, so I had to change her. yeah,
Oh, okay.
to
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
That was the prior vote, not this vote. I went back to the norm.
Yep, okay. Legal is, we
We
voted
voted
legal.
legal.
Yep, we already voted, so 156, technology. Mike, is this budget ready to be voted, or is there still stuff we're gonna be adding to this?
There's no plan to add anything to this.
Okay,
Okay.
so this is what it is.
So budget 156, legal, technology, total other, $267,503. Total technology, $267,503. I move.
Second,
Okay, so this technology software,
right.
did we talk about that on Budget Saturday?
I believe Rajon spoke to that.
Due to,
We did talk about it, didn't we? Yeah.
we did talk about
It's
it.
Google Workspace licenses that it says right here.
Correct. As
In
opposed
the
to the
notes.
other software that he also talked about, which was warrant articles for two different pieces of new software.
Okay, and
That's,
also.
right, that's where I got confused. That was the one I got confused with. The warrant is totally different than this technology software, right?
Right.
That's correct.
Yep.
Yeah, what's in the operating budget is software that we have, year to year, every year. At least with the Google Workspace, whereas the other two pieces, for the treasurer collector's office and the accounting office, those are brand new this coming year.
And this increase is because this is the first year of the Google stuff?
That's correct.
Okay, so then,
It's what, it's Google? It's like Google Class, it's Google Workspace or something?
yeah, Google
Yeah,
Workspace.
Yes, so last year, there was, if you remember, there was a warrant article that included money to initially bring on Google and our new, software.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is the first year you're seeing it in the operating budget.
Well, I'm just trying to get my head around it a little bit because I am familiar with Google Classroom. I've used it and seen it. And so this is a little bit like that, for different purposes. Am I putting words in your mouth? Is that not true?
No, that's true.
Okay,
This is-
thanks.
Yeah, and this is actually, we're a little bit on the cutting edge as far as, it wouldn't seem so, but for municipalities, we tend to not use a lot of the stuff that's used on the corporate and commercial side. And this is a much more flexible, adaptive, cloud-based platform that's already proven to be better for us.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So next year, this number will not be as high. Is that correct? Or is this going to be an ongoing?
No, this is going to be ongoing. Last
pay for
year,
the licenses.
in the warrant, it was a higher amount, but this is the annual cost.
Okay.
So this is the annual licensing.
Yeah, holy,
I know.
yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Well, I wasn't here, but so I'm assuming this was a reduction from maybe Microsoft licensing that you had prior? Is that correct, Mike?
I don't know the exact answer to
Okay.
that. I will tell you that
Gary, do you know?
the
'Cause
year
you-
we're in currently right now, FY ¡24, we did not see a decrease in cost, and we didn't expect to see a decrease in cost in year one. But in the out years, through efficiency, we do plan to see an increase, an increase in efficiency or decrease in total cost for our IT platforms.
Yeah, so we didn't migrate from individual Microsoft licenses.
You did or didn't?
We did.
Okay.
We switched essentially from Microsoft to Google. We also getting rid of most of our servers.
Right.
So there's a decrease in technology with, as we talked about capital salary, with the exception of one server at the police station.
Right.
Which is required by law to keep there. So we got rid of the licenses for Microsoft. We got rid of, or getting rid of hardware, which we're switching to Google on the cloud. So there's going to be an annual fee. I assume it's going to go up. So I assume next year will be a slight increase beyond
It
this.
sounds like it's the cheaper option then, compared to what.
Long-term it is, because
Yeah.
now we don't have to hire technology services to maintain all the PCs
Okay.
and tech servers, et cetera, and answer all the questions.
So we have Google licensing, which is this. I'm assuming we have Microsoft Office too, smaller amount, right?
Google Office,
So how are they using Excel?
Google.
Because you download, because I upload whatever Mike sends me, and
Yeah.
then it opens as a Google Doc.
And you can download it.
Because I'd much
into
rather
Excel.
have Google.
That's actually
I mean,
Google Sheets, what you're looking at.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm behind the
This
times.
is
Okay.
not Google Sheets. This is Excel.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because you
I
uploaded it and then opened it.
can't deal with Google because I don't understand it. So I downloaded
Because see,
it
that's
to
what,
Excel.
right, see, that was my question. So,
But the employees here, if they tried to open this file up, would open up in Google
Right.
Sheets.
Right.
There's
so
a
they can't open,
translation.
the employee on town can't open up Excel.
Can open up
They
Excel.
don't have it on their desktop.
They can open up
So
Excel
I-
as a
A Google Doc.
Google Doc.
As a Google Doc.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can tell you that right now, we can open it both ways. So we were at end of life with the MS Office.
Okay.
So right now, I can open up in either, in either Excel or in Sheets, but we're transitioning people over to the all Google products.
Okay.
Good thing I don't work here. Okay. So. Okay, I'm going to take a vote. George?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Becky?
Aye.
John? Tony?
Aye.
And Maria? Aye. Okay.
Okay. How long are we going here?
We're going to do one more. We're going to
Okay.
do 161. Is that the next
Town
one you
clerk,
have?
yep.
Hold on.
162.
Wait,
Did
Town
we-
clerk.
161 is town clerk.
161 is town clerk.
Is there a 162?
No.
There is
No,
not.
I have a mistake. Okay, 161.
Okay. I move total salary for the town clerk's office is $122,930. Total other is $17,088, for a total of $140,018.
I'll second that.
Okay, is there any discussion on this budget? No, great. George?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Bob?
Hi.
Becky?
Aye.
John?
Affirmative.
Now he's gonna type that, so don't say anything yet, Tony.
What the heck?
Tony?
Aye.
And Maria, yes.
Oh, see, even you
I'm
were.
just messing them up. Okay, we got through some budgets tonight. We'll get through the rest next week, because we don't have any guests coming next week. All right, warrant articles we'll do next week, because there's nothing new. We got this list today. Can I have committee reports?
Yeah, I have nothing.
Okay,
I'm trying to think, I went to Personnel Board. They talked about the training. They were voting the COLA of 3%, which I guess we're probably going to vote next week.
yes, we're gonna
But
put that.
we're clearly voting it tonight because we put all
We
these
discussed it,
raises
we didn't do
in.
an official vote, so we need to put that on the agenda for next week.
And then I had to leave to come here, so.
Okay. Gary?
School Building Committee, meeting tonight, so I can't tell you what's being discussed. I assume that 400,000+ is being discussed.
Can you talk to everyone about that? Do we all
We
know
talked about it
that?
last week, didn't we? I mentioned it, didn't we? Well,
I think you mentioned it. but-
You mentioned it, but it was late
Yeah,
when
yeah.
Peter
Okay,
left.
so-
There's a mistake they made about the
Yeah,
on the project.
2 years ago, some changes were made, but not properly implemented in the budget, in the school building budget, and to the total of about $407,000. They caught that, I think, 2 weeks ago now, when they were going through trying to figure out why things weren't lining up properly. So this, again, this was happening in 2021. Just as a reminder, the total project was $117 million. We initial bonded $114 million. We did a second bonding late last year for $3 million to cover us. This $407,000 issue is based on the $114 million budget. So we're essentially over the 114 by 400,000. So we have the funds to cover it by the fact that we bonded a total now of 117 million. We expect to get some additional funding or revenue back from the state, but not for probably close to a year. It takes the state about a year, 9 months to a year to really finish all the books and do the inspections.
Have they gotten any money back from the state budget?
We were expecting still to get additional, about 5% of the total back.
Okay.
I don't remember the exact dollar amount right now.
Because I didn't think you got anything until it was all done.
Oh, no, we've been getting money all
Oh, you have?
along.
Oh, you have, okay.
We've been every week or every other week, we submit bills, and they look at them, and we're probably 31 or 32% back so far
Okay.
of what they owe us.
Good.
So bottom line, we were expecting to have $3 million left over after everything was done. Now we're going to have $2.6 million left over, approximately, when it's done. There was discussion with legal about the owner, project manager, who made the mistake, whether there's any recomps. I don't know what's happened for that. I assume they're going to talk about that tonight.
Yeah, that was my thought on that, is he ought to be ashamed of himself.
oh, yeah.
Well,
As a project manager, I mean, that's your job.
Right.
That's,
yeah.
And the thing is, you know.
put it in the box, that's what it is.
Because it happened early on that we came up short on one of our milestones, and then, so there was value engineering.
Yeah.
So had we known that 2 years ago, then they could have done value engineering.
Would have
you
done
know.
maybe different decisions.
Yeah, made different decisions to do that. So, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
This is like, yeah.
So, again, I wasn't there tonight, so I don't know what discussion actually occurred in that area. I assume it was discussed.
Okay.
Other than that, school committee, you obviously know where we are with that one. And Boxborough, the building committee, again, we talked about this last time, the Stowe Road site was chosen, not majority, not unanimous, it was a majority decision. I assume there's going to be a lot of discussion on the town meeting floor about location. Next meeting is, I think, next week or in 2 weeks? 2 weeks.
Can I just, Kristen, since you're here, do you know when the select board's going to talk about negotiating with the housing board on that?
Yeah, Mike and I are going to start working on that. We'll put together a subcommittee and set that up. We have a bunch of things that have to happen before town meeting that we just have to focus on.
You just have to take vacation from your job, apparently, so you can get it.
Yeah, yeah.
So Kristen, Mike, and I talked to Mike about this, with where we are, right, with the tax levy, and we obviously didn't make a decision tonight, so now we have to wait till next week. If it's the full amount, we need to think about whether it's a debt exclusion, right, vote, or not. So, but we need to have kind of that information before we go to print, right? Sorry, do you want a cough drop?
No,
I've been
it's
passing them out all
sorry.
night,
No, I'm
so.
good. I know it's got to be the air in here, you guys. Very dry.
Well, thanks a lot.
We need humidification. No, yeah. So again, I'm loath to really say anything because we haven't started the discussion with the housing board yet. But we are hoping for some sort of compromise with the payment schedule. Compromise seems to be my word of the year. But yeah, I really can't say anything yet. But yes, that's very high on the priority list.
To bed, right?
What's up?
Hopefully before we put the warrant to bed.
Yes. Yeah.
Right, because we need to make those decisions.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Because that's in the next few weeks.
Then it's not absolutely. It's a hard maybe.
Like,
Because I can't control how long it'll take.
Yeah,
the
so
housing.
like I think it's like mid-March or something. So
I would just suggest the housing board's meeting on Thursday night.
Yeah.
So maybe you could just reach out to Channing via email and say, hey, listen, can you maybe identify a member or two or something for your negotiations so that you can just get going when you're ready to get going?
Yeah, Mike, we can do that, right? I'm just going to assume you're saying yes.
Yes, yes, we can.
yeah, okay.
Double thumbs up. Yes. Boy, time flies, huh?
All right. Okay, Gary, you have a sense of the committee for when you go Thursday night, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's messages, it's not going to be an
and
unanimous decision.
Liz was here too.
Yeah,
so
I
she-
understand, but I mean, he's.
I
gonna
get up there and
speak-
give my little spiel.
Yeah.
Because I'm not allowed to speak during during the discussions. So I have to say everything up front. And one of the first things I talk about is the guidelines, which I don't think are good. And I'll definitely say, right now, it's not a unanimous decision to approve the assessment. I can't tell you which way it's going to go. I think that's about it.
I did
That's all
tell
I
you
can
the
say.
crazy
Just-
active
just wanna make sure.
Facebook
And I'm going to
page.
say, it's not against the school, it's, we're worried, and I said this last time, we're worried about the entire town.
Yeah.
And we have people in town who can't afford the increase.
Yeah, can
So
I want to tell you, the people on the kind of crazy Facebook page, the school page, people are like, why doesn't Gary from Boxborough get to talk when he wants to talk? And I was
I was like, why is she talking about that crazy Facebook page? But that's a good point. You should be allowed to talk when
I
you want
don't
to
watch that page. I don't watch any Facebook.
Yeah. Okay,
Sorry.
we do have citizens' concerns, but, there's no, Adam, do you have a concern? He's the only citizen that, is on the Zoom.
He's
No.
muted, but.
Okay.
told me he was gonna log off and then.
No, he's
No,
saying
he doesn't
no,
have
okay, all right. And Liz, you don't have anything other than what we've already talked about?
Nope.
Okay,
So is he just watching you, is what he's doing?
Just making sure I stay in line.
all right. So I appreciate you coming and staying tonight, Liz. I appreciate you listening and, kind of having to take a little bit of aggravation from us, sorry. I
It's
do.
all, I mean,
Yeah.
I agree with Becky that this is healthy.
It is healthy. It is healthy. It's uncomfortable, but it's healthy. So, and, all right, so next week.
Conversations, just like the training.
There you go. Difficult, I like that. All right, so next week, we're voting, the first thing we're gonna do, it's first on the agenda, because I don't think we have any guests coming next week. Right, there's no more appointments. We're gonna vote the school budget, and then from there, we're gonna vote the rest of the budgets, and we're gonna start talking about warrant articles. And so, as, what?
So there are some discrepancies in the warrant article list. So, Mike, I could call you tomorrow if
Yes.
you like and go sort that out because
Yes.
there's some
Sure.
things that are not quite correct. I don't
Right,
think.
from what we talked about on Budget Saturday, that would be great if you guys could get
Yeah.
on the same page, because so far, I think ours from the funding perspective, and then they added 2 things last night at the select board. So, that would be great, and then we're gonna start doing that, and then just start considering.
Gary.
Gary has some.
Oh, I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
I just thought of one other, I apologize. The Comcast meeting
Oh, yeah,
with John, myself, and others, a meeting this Friday,
okay,
to talk about the contract.
great,
Oh,
okay.
we're still part of that deal?
We'll find out, won't we? It's not going to be much.
I was
I'm
gonna say,
sure.
because, yeah, that's dying.
But we got Verizon done, so this is Comcast.
All right,
Do we
great.
still-
So next meeting, I'll have some
Do we
updates,
still get money out of Verizon?
a little bit.
Okay,
I move to adjourn.
okay.
second it.
Thank gosh, okay, here we go. George?
Aye.
Okay, Gary?
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Becky, aye.
John?
Aye.
Tony?
Aye.
Yes, Maria. Okay, thank you, everybody. I appreciate everyone's patience.
Thank you.